Hey, this is Dan,
Bob,
and Dr. Aggro
from GigaBoots.com, and welcome to podcast episode 03, Double Upper Max. That's our subtitle for this one, I guess.
All right.
That's what we're doing.
Does this one have anything to do with the podcast?
What do you mean?
The subtitle? At all?
Not really. That has nothing to do with the content today.
Okay.
So is it the third podcast or the second? Because I heard double in there.
Well,
three.
it's Double Max because it's a Street Fighter Alpha 3 reference, and I decided that you mimicking the Japanese and how they name things was a good idea. I was a little intoxicated, so yeah.
All right.
Okay. So let's go ahead and start with some gaming news. Here's the basic rundown. We're gonna do general gaming news, very recent, interesting stuff. Then we're gonna jump on to this huge amount of news about Gamestop's initiatives in the last week or so, in its own segment because there's so much of it. And it's pretty interesting. Good discussion around that. And then we also have a roundtable on next generation consoles and when we think this generation will end, or if it'll be the forever king and just eternally reign the console gaming market. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into gaming news head first. So apparently information about the new Burnout has leaked from a profile of somebody who works at EA.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, also the Australian Classification Board leaked the same thing simultaneously. It's going to be called Burnout Crash, from what they're saying, which, Bob, if you...
Crash.
Yeah.
Crash.
That's a good part of Burnout.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Rest of it just there.
See,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you played 3, but the 3 was based around... talking to Aggro here. 3 was based around Crash Mode, or one of the best parts was Crash Mode. You'd set up these
hell yeah.
intricate...
Yeah,
okay.
and you just have to rush into it. Yeah, no, that's what I know of Burnout. That fucking rule.
Yeah, that was...
Paradise came out, and I was just confused as hell.
So to hear that not only is the new Burnout coming out relatively soon, since they have a name and the Australian Classification Board gives a crap.
Seriously, when Australia has it, it's usually out for 3 years.
Yeah, so I'm really glad that's coming out soon. Even more glad that it's got Crash Mode emphasis.
And that's being made by Criterion?
Yeah, that is
original
being
guys?
made by Criterion.
Thank God.
So far, the information points towards that. So here's the next bit of news, moving on very quickly. Nintendo has patented in 2009 a mood lighting peripheral for the Wii.
Mood lighting.
You plug it into the
Interesting.
Wii, and the game would tell it what sort of mood it needs to be in. It has the ability to display 256 different colors, and you would put it behind the TV.
Well, TVs did stuff like this for a little while.
Yeah, they
came
did.
out with a few models
Yeah.
out of the sides, which, I thought was really interesting. I don't know how it would work in execution.
It's really novel. It sounds like the room need to be pretty dark for you to be able to tell, though.
I don't think so. I think just because it's color.
Yeah,
if
like
it
a
was
white
brightness
wall
alone,
would
that'd be-
reflect the color rather well.
I mean, no matter the color of the wall, you're going to notice when something blues behind your TV. I
Yeah.
think really what console had some sort of visual feedback mechanism? Oh, Move. Never mind. It's just the Move accessory, how it would change colors.
Right.
It's kind of like that, only, behind the TV where you're actually looking. So, I think it would be interesting. I think it would be a really hard sell to get anyone to buy this.
I don't know. I kind of want that just for in Zelda when you get low on hearts. You hear the horrible, annoying noise, and then it's also your TV is flashing red.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
Self-destruct mechanism activated. Fuck. Yeah, see Metroid. Metroid would be great with that.
Great.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, of course, that, I suppose, at the far end leads into alternative methods of immersion in video games. A light system would actually be pretty cool for giving you cues and telling you when this is happening.
Hell, why don't we have the console doing that? It doesn't need to be an accessory per se. I mean, you can stick something on the back of the console or somewhere on the console to emit
Well, yeah, but I
light.
suppose, you know where the TV is going to be related
Your
to your
eyes
experience.
are-
Right,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
could do something like the Wii sensor bar where that's attached to the console
This
directly.
is true,
and part of the console
and that
pretty
port
much.
on the back is made of really cheap stuff. Like that would not be expensive to implement into a console system. At least if it was the same level of complicated as the sensor bar. The sensor bar is a little bit less complicated than this thing would end up being.
Right,
but either
'cause
way,
the sensor bar is just
it's
like
LEDs,
IR.
infrared lights.
Well, who'd have guessed it? Nintendo made something that looked and sounded kind of stupid, but turned out to be really interesting for the industry and the experience as a whole.
But they never put it out.
I wonder if they'll actually release this. That'd be pretty cool.
When you brought up Zelda, something that occurred to me, remember in Ocarina of Time with the Rumble Pack, if you had that one item...
Yeah, the Stone of Agony.
Yeah, that's what I thought of. So you're just walking along, and it's going to flash a color to be like, there's a secret here.
Yeah,
and you're just
stuff
like,
that
whoa.
would be totally cool. Like, that's the new QuickTime event. Red, fuck!
Also, a Spider-Man game. There you go. Just a Spidey sense.
Yeah, that'd be totally awesome.
I don't think that they'd have a way to get the different colors, so there'd be like a web of
Oh, yeah, it would be...
Well, no, you'd have to, like, the stencil would come with the game.
Yes.
Best game ever.
That is the best game ever. The whole thing turns off until the Spidey.
Nintendo, using video games to sell you cheap plastic shit.
Yeah, that's what the last gen has been about. Okay, so yeah, patent from 2009. Not anything about that coming out. So, moving on. NGP's release date might no longer fall in 2011. Jack Tretton, that is, of course, the SCEA president, he said that the earthquake may have caused problems that would delay the NGP.
That would...
Yeah.
I believe
And
that,
he has phrased it as, it may be the straw that says, quote, maybe we get just one market by the end of the year. Now, here's the interesting thing, guys. This came out, this tidbit of news came out on the 4th. The 6th NGP launch may not be impacted by the quake, Sony now claims.
Huh.
So they kind of double backed on that statement, and this actually...
no information, that kind of thing.
It actually says here, Sony spokesperson Satoshi Fukuoka, stated, so far we see no impact from the quake on our launch plan.
He might be talking about the Japanese launch plan.
Or he's talking about, Quake.
We have no impact, Quake. It's just...
Like the Quake guys are just dragging their ass on making the NGP title.
No one over here enjoyed Quake. We have seen no impact from Quake. So, whether or not that's delayed, whether or not that was Tretton trying to come up with an excuse for why it won't be in America by the end of the year, who knows?
Yeah.
Like, guys, shipping things is expensive.
Holy fuck, did you know?
I didn't.
So, there's an interview over at Gizmodo. There's a link provided with this podcast that's talking about the fact... the Unreal Engine and it being all these mobile, it's becoming more of a mobile development kit. And they're pointing out their problem with Android is the different specs. They can't really target a spec at all. So they're just not developing on Android.
Oh, that stinks.
They might show up on that PlayStation thing. They didn't say this in the article, but PlayStation Certified or the PlayStation Suite does have more of a spec than Android as a whole.
Right.
So maybe they could target that someday.
Well, hang on. What do you mean by spec?
Specifications like RAM,
like
the processor
in
of
the phone, the hardware.
Yeah,
okay,
because
since Android's on a lot of different models.
Yeah. See, here's the problem so far. Android is supposedly an open source developed OS that Google has been very, 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 very open about,
right?
And doesn't have a whole lot of rules on. They give it out for free. They do all sorts of stuff. A lot of phone manufacturers aren't properly updating Android at all. My coworker still has Android 2.1 when 2.3 just came out, and these things aren't frequent updates. These are like 6 months apart at least. So not only do you have people with different specs all over the place, because his phone isn't by any means low end.
Yeah.
It's a really nice phone, one of the nicest you can get. It just has Android 2.1. See, the phone manufacturers and the cellular carriers, they actually drag their feet when it comes to updating these things because it costs money to implement and reaps no benefits for them. The end users, yes. And also, if you think about it, it incentivizes, it removes incentive for people to upgrade their phone. So between the different OSs on different phones, the different specs between different phones, and all sorts of other... Epic was saying they're really not looking at
Yeah, that is kind
Android.
of a problem from a development standpoint.
Yeah, that's definitely not good.
That's why gaming never has much taken off on that.
Maybe we get into like the PC thing. We're like, yeah, you can play it. It'll just run like shit. Get a better phone.
Holy hell, can this thing boot? Fucking no. Okay, well, you just bought a game that doesn't work. Welcome to PC 1992. Now, something they do talk about, or something that's relevant to this, but isn't in this interview that we're providing the link for, Google is not providing anyone with the code for Android 3.0, even though it's already on devices in the market. 3.0 is officially their first, even though they're not stating this, everyone else sees it as fucking obvious, non-open source OS version. They've essentially been slowly closing off how much they're opening this up to the public, where 3.0 is this new, like, oh, we push these graphics and it requires this and that and has all these features. They are not letting people look at the code at all. They're working privately with people. So on one hand, that kind of sucks because what got Android so popular was it being so open.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it's good because of that problem I was talking about with the updating the OS. Another problem with the different specifications and what these things can generally do, like gaming applications can run way better on 3.0 capable hardware than they could on prior versions. So they're probably not letting phone manufacturers use 3.0 because they would put it on some slipshod hardware at this point. Yeah. So the rest of this interview is talking about how, the NGP is, you can code it to the metal and it's hardcore as shit. It's going to be like the most fucking gorgeous thing in portables for a long time because they can exploit it and do all sorts of tricks that you can't really do on mobile environments. Android, they're not doing for the reasons I was talking about. And on the iPad and the iPhone, they were noting they're getting really good performance out of it, but because of the drivers that are written for the hardware, doing really good graphics is possible. Like, if you saw Infinity Blade, it was that gorgeous 1v1.
That looked really interesting.
The reason why it's like two characters fighting each other is because apparently to do more than that many models, they have to hit up the drivers more times, pretty much exponentially. And the overhead for how the driver works is so extreme that rendering fewer objects gorgeously is so much easier than rendering a few objects okay.
Weird.
So they're hoping that Apple will really, really work on those drivers and really work on reducing overhead for graphics in general.
I don't know if iPad 2 is any sign of things. I wouldn't count on it.
They were saying the iPad 2 apparently has 9 times the graphic processing capability of one in a single year, which is insane, but I expect it to slow down a good bit from here on out. Because, iPad 1 was more of a, here, we did this. And iPad 2 is more of a, okay, now we did this a lot better.
And I'm still like, call me when it runs Flash.
Yeah, that's... it'd be nice if more things ran Flash. That actually ties back into that thing earlier really well. 2.1 doesn't run Flash, 2.2 does. So
yeah, that's kind of important.
My coworker's badass cell phone can't run Flash just because of the OS. If he fucking rootkitted it, if he jailbroke it, yeah, he could run Flash. So there's that thing.
Yeah.
And they talk about all sorts of stuff in that. So that's a pretty interesting interview. Go ahead and go check that out, guys. Moving on. Kotaku actually has the world-exclusive first look under the hood of the next Unreal Engine. They show off a lot of the new features in the new UDK, as it's called, Unreal Development Kit, and they have some pretty insane features in this.
So is this full on Unreal 4, or is this just another iteration of Unreal 3?
The way they're referring to it so far is like another iteration of Unreal 3, but it has a lot of DirectX 11 features and a lot of other high-end features that you could expect from a fully numbered upgrade. But yeah, the way they're talking about it so far, it's 3. I mean, they show off things in this, like insane tessellation for smoke and how that would work out.
This is that thing they were showing off a few
at GDC behind closed doors. So this is the first...
closed doors.
Closed doors, quote unquote. But this looks really promising and really insane. They said they took this tech demo to the console manufacturers to say, this is the sort of thing we want to do next gen. This is the sort of thing we need features and support for. But Tim Sweeney, I believe, from Epic Games, I miss them being called Epic Mega Games.
Damn.
Yeah, that was their original name. But I miss... At least I think that was their original name. It could have been a smaller company before it was Epic Mega Games. But in any case, they went to all the console manufacturers with this tech demo, and they're like, this is the sort of stuff we plan on doing with our next engine, and we need this. This is the sort of thing we would need to run an engine like this. But he said it's kind of hard. He's not in a position of power to dictate what goes into their consoles. So he's really just showing off what he wants to provide people with and asking them kindly to put in the sort of hardware necessary to run this.
Please be at least this awesome.
Yeah, pretty much. There is some really cool, important things graphically in this tech demo that I hope we see a lot of next gen. So yeah, go ahead and go check that out over at Kotaku.com. It's nuts. That's the only way I can describe that.
Yeah.
I would gladly put that video in this video you're watching right now so you could watch it through this, but I'd rather not be sued into oblivion.
I liked Oblivion.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
pretty sweet. Like, is that what's at the end of lawsuits? You get to play Oblivion? Shit. Gonna go violate some copyright laws.
Apparently, according to a news post over at OneUp.com, the next Black Ops map pack has leaked.
Seize the zoo?
Yeah,
Really?
seize the zoo, take the hotel, secure the
Carpe
convoy,
Zoom.
survive Call of the Dead. So it's going to be another zombie
Yeah, obviously.
based thing.
Yeah.
They're not sure, like, some information leaked with that saying the DLC should be expected to hit on the 360 in May 3rd.
So PS3 presumably a month later?
Yep, because they still have that exclusivity deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I hate that.
Yeah, that is agitating. I just can't help but think Microsoft could have spent that money on something else. Like, I don't know, making another camera accessory that lags? I don't know.
Maybe not killing Ensemble Studios,
Yeah, Ensemble, fucking love them. I'm so sad they're gone. Just so you know, they made Age of Empires and they closed because after they made Halo Wars, they were like... Actually, during the process of Halo Wars, they were alerted to the fact, yeah, you guys don't make games that sell anymore.
Wow.
Ignore the fact we keep telling you to make the same one.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that sucks. Poor Ensemble. But yeah, so in any case, Black Ops map pack allegedly coming out May 3rd, according to some promotional details that came out. May 3rd, 360. Moving on. Jack Tretton discussed platform pricing in the PS3 hitting its stride. Let me get the quote from this. Okay, it's not to say the price of the platform isn't a consideration, but I don't think the price makes or kills a platform. Something that's lousy, very inexpensive is not going to be successful, and something that's pricey will ultimately find its audience if there's good enough value there. I don't want to sound like a fucking hater, but the Wii was fucking cheap to manufacture. It was sold at $250 and really, really cheap to manufacture. The thought that inherent value will defy the opportunity cost of having spent that money on that device, I think is foolhardy. What do you think, Aggro? I think if you price something kind of expensive, like if the NGP is $350,
Ugh.
yeah, if the NGP is expensive, like definably, whoa, it's not going to sell.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to the PS3. It didn't sell.
Yeah, it didn't sell for years. So then Sony just had to wait and keep funding these studios with all the money they saved up from the PS2 printing money.
See, what I love about that is, you'll always have a core demographic of guys like us, because I'm like, because I hear, the NGP is going to be $350. I don't think, oh my god, I guess I can't get an NGP. I think, oh my god, it's going to hurt when I buy the NGP.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
This industry can't run like that anymore.
Not really, especially not with how diverse Sony's portfolio of games tend to be. I mean, they hit every genre up when they make games for a platform. Mm-hmm. So, guys, we're not going to buy every genre, are we? I don't want to buy every genre. So clearly we can't support the NGP if it's expensive. They're going to have to find a market. More PlayStation news. PlayStation certified tablet slated for summer release. The PlayStation certified thing is that PlayStation Suite system. So we're talking about a tablet straight out of Sony that's going to be able to play all those PlayStation Suite games. Ooh. That could actually be pretty cool. It has potential.
Yeah.
It has potential. Let me stress this, though. That potential completely hinges on how much control of this Sony Computer Entertainment America and Sony Computer Entertainment in general have over it. From what I understand, they did restructure so that way that division gets way more control over the general hardware divisions of the rest of Sony. You know, the laptop.
Right. So hopefully it's not being made by Sony Ericsson or whatever.
No, I don't think this tablet... I hope to God this tablet isn't made by Sony Ericsson. Oh, that would be terrible.
Yeah. That'd be pretty bad.
Just because I've never known a good Sony Ericsson product. They all have, these systems they put in place to cock block you from doing what you want to do with your system. like MP3 transfers and stuff like that. It's just, I've never had a good experience with a Sony Ericsson piece of hardware. So hopefully this is just straight up Sony Computer Entertainment and the hardware divisions over at the Vio Studios and blah, blah, blah.
Hopefully.
Because this could pack some pretty good hardware. This, too, could have a really nice OLED screen or a really nice screen in general with some good specs and blah, blah, blah. So, that actually, I'd rather get that than Xperia Play, to be honest. Just because that, too, has tablet functions.
Yeah.
That would add more function.
Of course, it's a tablet, so it could well be absurdly expensive.
This is true.
And you wouldn't get a plan to
and
cheapen
it's Sony, so absurdly expensive products from Sony are absurdly expensive generally.
Yeah.
I mean, not quite Apple level, so we're probably not looking at $1,000 here, but
no, it's not Apple. If it runs Android 3.0, I think the Motorola Zoom, which is the Zoom tablet,
right?
Tablet. The Motorola Zoom tablet, yes, uses Android 3.0, and the hardware in order to punch that out, actually, it costs a lot to manufacture. So the Motorola Zoom's somewhere between $700 and $900. It's a pretty expensive tablet.
Yeah.
Hell, if I recall, it was $700 with a 2-year contract.
I can't think of any cheap tablets, honestly.
Well, it's
there
kind
are
of an
them.
emergent technology.
Yeah, it's a form factor that doesn't lend well to economies of scale at this point, and more importantly, various other things. Like, you're packing in a lot of stuff in a tablet that you wouldn't have to for, like, a laptop. You can use really large, cheaper parts.
Right.
Yeah. Most of the tablets are actually system-on-a-chip designs, so it's this really intricate design of, like, processor and GPU and memory and all that.
Ugh.
Yeah, and if I recall, the Motorola Zoom uses that portable NVIDIA chipset, which I've forgotten, Tesla. It uses a Tesla too. So that is another factor of why that's so expensive. So hopefully this tablet from Sony could be pretty good. The original news was from Bloomberg, and we also got a post from Joystick on this, so we'll provide a link on that. Moving on, apparently Rage, the shooter out of id, is 2 discs long on the 360. It's 1 Blu-ray disc on the PS3, and it can be beaten in 15 hours. Now, from the standpoint of an open-world game, that's short.
But
No,
this is a shooter.
But this is a shooter, and it seems to have really tight mechanics.
Well, see,
so
with
depending...
with an open world game, beating in 15 hours, is that like just straight up balls to the wall, ignoring everything, going through the story as fast as you can?
They actually haven't said. This comment is surprisingly enough straight out of id. This is one of id's people's, the spokesperson, I believe. Let me check real quick. In the interview, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, creative director... The creative director of Rage said it's 15 minutes, 15 hours long, 15 minutes long, and you had to switch the disc halfway through. So really, it's about 18 because it takes a while to verify.
We just kept downloading textures off the internet and putting them on this fucking disc.
Jesus Christ, this game's beautiful.
At minute 10, your character drops some acid, and well, shit just gets unpleasant.
But yeah, they don't really say whether or not that's every side quest or if it's just the main.
Yeah. I mean,
and I don't know how
Rage
the game...
is a concept. I've always viewed it more as a shooter first. Fact that it's open world second. I never saw of it as something like a Oblivion or a Fallout.
Yeah, because if you think about a shooter, you think Call of Duty. You think about an RPG that plays like a shooter, you think Borderlands. You think about a shooter that plays like an open world RPG, you think Rage. So the balance is more like a shooter being 15 hours long. Less an RPG, yeah. So that's how I view it personally. But apparently, people out there are surprised and stuff. I don't understand that per se. I mean, they never really sat there and said our engine's gonna allow for the longest game you've ever played or a really, really long open world game. All they said was, this game's huge because we have the most insane textures thanks to this mega texturing technology made by man god genius brain John Carmack.
Yeah, I was more of thinking of it be like basically for bigger open areas, more like a Halo game than a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, more like a free roaming Halo game because it's still like you transport yourself from area to area and missions don't cut off stuff from what they're saying.
Gotcha.
So it's more like everything you saw in Halo, you could just walk across. Because I remember looking up first time I played Halo, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I want to play that game.
It's an entire ring.
Where the entire ring is just a single area.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, it's too bad that, who owns them? ZeniMax Media owns, id.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's part of that Bethesda Alliance sort of deal.
Right.
They don't license out that engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were showing off id 5 tech engine, and they were just like, this is mega texturing. It's amazing. We will license it out to a very small amount of people. ZeniMax bought id, and then just sort of went, very small means only people within this company now. And then the Oblivion people went, this won't work for our game, so it means nobody now.
I was wondering about that. I mean, did last id engine for Doom 3... I don't remember that getting licensed out. I figured that only they knew how to use it because they had John Carmack and no one else did.
The reason why that didn't get licensed out is they actually designed the entire engine to do a couple very specific things, and then formed the gameplay around it.
Gotcha.
That's why it was dark so damn often, because apparently having so many lighting sources in that engine would screw any PC.
Awesome.
And Doom 3 already did a good enough job of screwing PCs.
It did.
And then they couldn't license it out because it didn't have a lot of features and support for features that other games needed. So it's like, if you wanted to make a game like Doom 3, that's the engine to go to.
I mean, everyone who licenses Unreal wants to make a game like Unreal games, so I figured.
Well, that's not entirely true. Look at Quantum Theory. You can throw people. That's some advanced stuff. And in Vanquish, you can slow down time, and that certainly is how I'm pretty sure the Vanquish engine... Vanquish as a game could not be done on the Unreal Engine. I'm pretty damn sure. Because you read those developer posts about how the engine's constantly doing insane amounts of level of detail. And it's got this huge environment. And
now, I remember some games that tried to use the Unreal Engine for something that really didn't work.
Yeah?
Lost Odyssey. Not Lost Odyssey. Last Remnant. That's what
Last Remnant. There we go. I was like, Lost Odyssey. But yeah.
Well, Lost Odyssey did have its own set of Unreal Engine problems.
This is true. It really did. So yeah, I don't know. 15 hours doesn't seem that short to me. How long is Borderlands?
Borderlands is.
It's about 30. But how much of that is like grind
and traversal?
Well,
traversal.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of traversal. Not so much grinding, I'll say.
But really, from what I hear about Rage, like the new AI stuff, the replay value in this game has to be amazing.
Yeah, I imagine there are a lot of different ways you could play it. It does seem like the crafting system alone seems like something you could just fuck with.
Yeah.
Welcome to the GigaBoots Podcast. It's like every other podcast, except for we're way more laid back and we curse a lot. So,
coincidence?
So, moving on. Apparently, some details and videos of the canceled Perfect Dark sequel surfaced.
Ooh.
Yeah, they were rumored to be working on Perfect Dark Core for years. And apparently, very recently, videos arised from or showed up in someone's profile trying to get a new job. So they showed off the stuff they worked on.
Nice.
So here's what happened. As soon as Perfect Dark Zero ended, they started making a game for, a sequel.
Right.
By late 2008, the game still hadn't gotten the green light. And it had been changed drastically, like, at least once. It went from a traditional Perfect Dark game to, get this, a weird, focused on combat with mechs type game, where you don't even play as Joanna Dark. You play as her partner, and she becomes this even further removed from the original concept for Joanna Dark type character, where she's, let me get the exact quote here. Okay, there we go. She becomes a smoker and a flirt. So the entire mission, she's just hitting on you and smoking, and you drive mechs. And
that sounds like a pretty cool game.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I definitely would enjoy that over what Rare's doing now.
Yeah, that's...
What are they up to these days?
They did all the Kinect shit. Yeah, they did Kinectimals and Kinect Sports.
They did Kinect Sports.
Yeah, they did both of those. At very least. Wow. They probably did more than that.
Yeah,
but
they're doomed to...
They made the Avatar system for the 360. That's them.
I'm gonna go play Banjo-Kazooie and cry.
You know, they made that Banjo-Kazooie game on the 360. You could. Aggro, it's okay. We still have N64s. So yeah, with their focus on the Kinect, they're just sort of saying they're really committed to the Kinect as a platform and etc. That's going to come up in a later news post too.
That's so sad.
So unless they come,
we're committed to not making a real game ever again.
We're committed to completely abandoning the entire fan base we've ever formed, ever. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you, Microsoft
That's
Game
what we
Studios.
want.
Yeah, once again, this will come up later. But yeah, so 1UP is pointing out that unless a new Perfect Dark is Kinect enabled, we're not going to be seeing a new one anytime soon. Mm-hmm. Here is an article about how Cameo 2 would have looked, because apparently they were working on that, and it got canceled.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah, they went for a way more realistic art style.
I can see
as
that.
you can see on screen, that's the main character from 1 in a far more realistic style.
Right.
Yeah,
I could see that working better for Xbox sort of crowd.
Yeah, honestly, I'm more interested in this than I was in the original Cameo, because the art style in that looked like it looked poorly conceived. Honestly,
it honestly looked 64-ish.
Yeah, it looked like 64 with a fuckload of shaders. Like they realized they had way more shaders, so they're like, and go. It's just hard to describe the look of Cameo 1, but yeah, so. This too came up from somebody's, let's see, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so the date on these images and the site they were hosted on and leaked from, apparently 2008, and that's a year before rumors of the game's cancellation had come up. So, this is, different from how most Rare games look. This is really realistic. I can't think of too many Rare games that are realistic looking.
Yeah, I mean,
they
tried to go for it with Perfect Dark Zero.
Yeah, they tried to kind of go for that, but that wasn't nearly as realistic as this is.
Yeah.
This looks like a legitimate human being. That looked like some metaphor.
This is just sad to see all the canceled game.
It's not sad yet. Next piece of news. Rare suffers layoffs, and future may hinge on Kinect Sports 2.
Oh, fuck.
This is hilarious. This post is over at escapistmagazine.com. Once again, and it's provided in the links. Sources close to Rare say there may have been large cuts to its art department, and the future of the development studio rely on Kinect Sports 2. Apparently, according to a 4chan post, this was originally put there, and this 4chan. Here's the exact quote: "Rare's fate is directly, totally, and unequivocally." Unequivocally? Yeah, whatever.
Or no, that says unequivocally.
Yeah, that says unequivocally. In any case, tied to the success of Kinect Sports 2. That's the whole quote there. And of course, it's on 4chan. People didn't really give it a whole lot of credit. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of other people in European development studios and people who may or may not have worked at Rare and etc. have confirmed, in very much subtle fashions, because the industry is one where you can't really say a whole lot of NDA breaking stuff and expect to keep your job.
Yeah.
Right.
They confirm this. This is apparently true. They
That's
apparently
so
fired.
sad.
Here's the saddest part. I've never fucking heard of this. They fired all permanent staff in the art department. Everyone in the art department is a temp.
Wow.
Once that game's done,
They know gaming is
have no art
a heavily
department.
visual medium, right?
Not when you use the avatars.
Yeah.
See? Now that makes sense. So
that also ties into why we're seeing all these artists come out with stuff or looking for jobs.
Yeah,
from their old ones.
because they're fucking fired. Because there is no
This
permanent
is
art
awful.
department.
And then they're relying on Kinect Sports 2. Kinect Sports is already it's the most rehashed sort of game there is.
Yeah, exactly. So 2's not going to sell well. 1 had, that could sell well, but 2...
Yeah, it had a chance because it was at the launch.
Wii Sports Resort came out substantially after the Wii's launch and packed in some new functionality. That's how it sold. Mm-hmm. And, honestly, those games were fucking awesome.
Right. Unlike
swords.
what
I
I've
don't think we're going to
heard
get a
of,
lightsaber to beat people up with in Kinect Sports 2. But, so apparently Microsoft is reorganizing Rare to not even have a permanent art staff
So yeah, they're going hardcore for the Kinect.
They're going hardcore
with
for Kinect.
With only the avatars too. That's awful because Kinectimals was supposedly one of the best games at the Kinect launch, and that obviously had a pretty decent art department.
Yeah, obviously. Now, something else interesting about this: there's a UK law that states any redundancies, their word for layoffs, over 19 requires a full consultation process. Apparently Microsoft didn't want to deal with that, so they phrased the exact nature of what reorganization was happening in a way where they were screwing them.
Wow.
And most of them just up and quit. And the amount of people who up and quit pushed that number over 20. So now, regardless of their intentions, they're dealing with the consultation process.
Nice.
So it's nice to see them go through the official thing, but this is really depressing. I mean, Rare's been around since the beginning of fucking gaming, pretty much. Like 83. They have games dating back to 83, 85.
Yeah, they were the ones doing...
Jetpack. They did fucking Jetpack. That awesome fucking game they packed in with Donkey Kong 64 as a hidden... and then they remade for Xbox Live Arcade. It just... And then they did the entire Iron Sword series, Donkey Kong Country. There are just countless games these people have made.
Yeah.
And they had legitimate value. Like, even if you didn't enjoy Iron Sword as a game, it was Iron Sword. It had value. Kinect Sports 2 isn't going to have that cultural value years down the road. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, these are just cash-in trash. This is the shovelware that you see on the Wii.
Yeah, this is just sad.
This off-brand, or this on-brand stuff feels like the off-brand stuff you get on the Wii. It's sad.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, and then they're getting rid of their permanent art staff. How are they supposed to have any style as a company?
Yeah, they just... That fired everything.
Yeah, so that's depressing.
I think it's time for a mercy killing and a revenge company.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I think some website had a link to what the people are doing now, but I'm not sure.
I was
Molotov
hoping it would
cocktails.
be like a Call of Duty situation where everyone just up and quit, and they had some sort of horrible shell of Rare.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
It'd be even better if they had a Twitter account.
They all go to work at Capcom.
Oh, this was a
mistake. They're like, oh man, we're never going to Japan again. Clearly, that was our mistake. Goes to Activision.
Oh, wow. They're just hitting everything back.
Yeah, they just... Wow. Okay, next bit of news. Bizarre Creations. The people made Project Gotham Racing 1, 2, 3, and Geometry Wars. And I think they made one other game. Apparently had the choice to buy itself near the end of Activision closing them. Yeah, they had the choice to buy themselves, but apparently the creative director... Let's see. One moment, let me get the exact position of the person. No. But yeah, someone high up in the company noted that, yes, they had the chance to by themselves, quote, but I personally thought there was a far greater potential for the security and well-being of the company if a third party could come in. You know, like if they could sell themselves off to someone else. So
right.
Activision was apparently courting people to sell the developer, and no one bought the bait. No one bought them.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think
So
they'd be able to find someone. But...
Yeah, Bungie gathered enough investors to buy themselves, but then again, they had Halo.
Yeah,
so,
they were Bungie.
Yeah.
So they could have gotten investors to buy.
Bungie.
They could have gotten investors to buy themselves a smoothie bar. They could get investors for fucking anything. So that's really sad. I think Geometry Wars is like cream of the crop of this twin stick shooter. So a company that produces that obviously is capable of good fucking games. They just needed to really find what they were good at. Like Project Gotham Racing was a popular series. It kind of declined, and then Microsoft, being Microsoft, is like, we're going to close you.
Yeah, when they had Forza to take over, they were like, oh, we don't need this anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing about Microsoft. Microsoft is the only of the three publishers to really close out studios in quick succession. Ensemble, Bizarre Creations. There's one or two more I'm thinking about. I can't remember their names right now. But yeah, it's just constant. Like Sony just they're very scrutinous. Sony won't hire someone until they very much prove themselves, which is why Ninja Theory remain third party.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and move on. At the MI6 conference, which is apparently a marketing conference for games. Yeah, you can hear Bob already reacting to Kudo.
Yes, this is
Kudo Sonoda.
Kudo Sonoda.
He's talking about Kinect's collaborative genesis. He puts this. So he describes the success of Kinect as being caused by the fact that the developers, the designers of Kinect, and the marketers were working together. Not the designers made something and the marketers figured out how to market it, but marketing sat there and had just as much creative input as the designers. And they were, quote, joined at the hip. Here's the exact quote. When we sat in meetings, it wasn't about competing ideas and agendas. The designers weren't pitching their ideas and waiting for the marketer's response. We were all on the same page. Everybody was feeding into each other. We were genuinely synced.
You know, that's... With most things in development, I think that sounds great. But when at the marketing department, that's just upsetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like get the programmers in the art team in the same room. Yeah. Get the engineers and the programmers in the art team in the same room. Expect to fight. Get the engineers and the artists in the same room. Really expect to fight. Like, expect people to break beer bottles and stab each other.
But you know, that's
all
where
of
games
those
come from. Fights.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Like, so many Sony behind the scenes for their games have been hilarious like that. In fact, I'm going to use this time to tell a really good anecdote. A good friend from an old site I used to write for told me this story once. He worked on the engineering staff for this team. And they had the engine and people to upload assets to the thing. And one of the new artists uploads this asset. And he just looks at it. And he looks at it for a very short amount of time before he storms out of his office, walks all the way down to where they are, and he opens the door, and he goes, and I believe he yelled this, and this is paraphrasing, he goes, "Why the hell did you put a texture of 1024 by 1024 on the eye? The eye. Each eye had a 1024 texture squared. On the eye of a soldier that wears a fucking opaque helmet." You couldn't see their eyes at all, and he textured it that well. And the artist just gives him this look of because he needed eyes. It's just like, that's the sort of thing that happens, but that's a good strife there, you know? The artist is always going to push for perfection, the engineer's always going to push for stability and performance, the programmer's always going to push for fun and gameplay. You know, that's generally
how... marketing in there, what are they pushing for?
The marketing's pushing for
how are they
sales.
gonna sell it.
Yeah, they're pushing for sales and general appeal, not depth and value, per se. So...
You know what you get with the marketing department on the ground floor designing hardware? You get that fucking Kinect conference. That Cirque du Soleil bullshit. That's what you get.
Oh, God.
That's what the fuck happens.
I forgot about, you know, that could be a result of this. And that definitely was.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, that was offensive.
That was retarded. What was it? It was Kevin Butler who's teasing Geoff Keighley over the what are tweets not getting out of there or something? Is there some sort of like dome over it where you can't be tweeting how gay it is? But yeah, he just keeps talking about how like they kept trying to think of things and those things weren't appealing to the general masses, and then marketing came in and they had genius ideas about how they could make it more appealing. Apparently they had here's a good quote from this article. He showed a spoof video of how the core designers viewed Kinect in the early days as an extension of competitive male gaming values. I hate that phrase. In any case, yeah, let's have an evil red eye watching you all the time from the screen and getting mad if you don't play your Xbox, he joked. He describes the process of making the Kinect as
making it friendly.
No, as quote, marketing people helped us. One moment.
Oh my God. No, hang on. Go back up.
I'm trying to find it. Okay.
I found a sentence that just fucked with my head.
Go ahead.
There we go. We got outside our heads and our meetings and got out there to see how people played and what they wanted. Suddenly, design wasn't about the designers. It was about the data. And when you're all looking at the very clear results that the data brings in, really, what is the difference between a designer and a marketer? Now, there were a lot of words in that sentence. But it didn't actually fucking say anything.
What he's saying...
Is this guy as much of a douchebag as he looks, apparently?
Kudo has never come off as anything else to me.
Yeah,
to be honest, he is the sleaziest person in the industry from what I can tell.
And this is a sleazy fucking industry.
This is, yeah, I mean, you saw the Konami conference at E3 last year. But, yeah, what really insults me about that sentence is it did say something. It said that data and seeing these people and the information we can pull from them and these people that know how to make something that will appeal to those people is all they need to make a good product. They don't need ingenuity. They don't need originality. They don't need any of that.
There's an old story. I cannot remember the name of the sculptor in Greece. But he created 2 statues. And for one statue, people would come by and go, hey, you should do this, and then add this. That'd be cool. And they'd just walk by, and he'd take suggestions and go, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And they'd say, well, add this here, or take this away, or make it shaped like this. And then he made a second statue in parallel where he just did what he wanted. And he unveiled them both when he was done. And the people were like, well, it's obvious you're an idiot, because you see we have this beautiful statue and this shit-ass statue. See this? And he's like, no. The shitty statue is the one where I just took in raw data from you assholes who don't know what the fuck you're doing. The good statue is the one where people who actually know how to do this job use their artistic skill to do this job properly, and you should shut the fuck up.
See, that is a really important story. That parallels this very well. It's just, oh my god. That's not how you make something of value.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you make something that's how you sell a product.
That's how you make knee-jerk bullshit shovelware.
Yeah,
that's not good. That doesn't help anything.
Okay, so moving on before we just spend the rest of the night on Kudo can suck a fuck. How do you suck a fuck?
Well, first you gotta put it in a bag of dicks.
We have this article from Ars Technica, and it's a little editorial on how the press reviews multiplayer games. And this thing talks about multiple writers for multiple sites and how they reviewed various multiplayer games before they came out. It's a really interesting read, and I suggest our readers go check it out, or our listeners go check it out. Yeah, we write things. Videos only, bitch. But there's this really, really interesting quote here. I was at an event to write a multiplayer guide for, and then it says a first-person shooter. They can't say what it was. My editor was there to review it, but we spent the day back to back playing multiplayer with the developers. You know, they were doing really well and joking about how the quality assurance team had to be taking it easy on them, you know, the developers themselves, and ha ha ha. And then, quote, my editor left a few hours early for a flight, but I stuck around for a few more hours to grab screenshots. And that's when the other shoe dropped. Once his editor left the room, Dyer began to get slaughtered. Round after round, he failed to get a single kill. He described it as going from empowering to embarrassing in a very short span of time. After a while, I went to ask the PR guy to talk to people for some info for the guide. He walks me over to the QA area, and the first thing I hear is, oh, I thought the press left. So what they're doing here with these multiplayer games to make the review come out better is just sort of letting people ease in slowly. And the moment the reviewer leaves, they're like, let's play the game like it should be fucking played. Mm-hmm. Like, for real. And how can you gauge a game that is multiplayer only when playing against, one, the people who designed it, two, the quality assurance team, or any of the people involved in this?
Yeah, how the game's going to play is entirely dependent upon the community.
Yeah,
you're
like
with
an
any
MMO
multiplayer
pretty
game.
much. I mean, you have to wait till it's out before you can, or sit with it for a month even.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially MMOs. Like, you wait a month because it'll be different from when it launches.
Exactly. Final Fantasy 14 exempt.
Whenever they finish that.
It's not done yet.
You know they stopped paying subscription fees. They still don't know when they're going to resume those.
Oh, yeah?
Because
I heard they kept giving out free months. Are they still just not?
They're still giving out free months. They don't know when to resume it because people will fucking quit playing.
Yeah.
So
they're pretty screwed at this point.
Here's a good parallel for that. The way I play a video game at first is very different from my brother. He's more of a hardcore read all the data ever on this thing.
Yeah, he's a spreadsheet guy.
He's just like going through that. He's seeing the ones and zeros. He's just
data
tearing
mining,
ass.
Theory crafting.
Playing on day one is like playing with me. It's like, okay, yeah, this is how we do this. And yeah, I could be like Steve, but I'm running this website, so, fuck. Yeah. I don't have time for that. Playing the game at all is like playing with 3 or 4 me's, 1 or 2 retards, and a couple of Steves. Which Steve is my brother's name, of course. It's completely different. Mm-hmm. And it's completely different. And of course, if you're playing against a developer, they're pulling punches, because if they weren't pulling punches, it would be like playing against 11 Steves.
Or playing
Yeah,
against
they
that
would
one
know
asshole
everything.
who owns his own Counter-Strike server and just keeps turning gravity off to be a fucker.
Derp. So, yeah, that article is pretty insightful to the industry. I really love having these articles come up that are just talking about all these problems. Ars Technica is really good about it. All these problems with reviewing games, like the Call of Duty Black Ops article they did. It was GamePro, I think, that broke the news. And they were the only people that broke the news. In order to do a Call of Duty Black Ops review, and we included this in our review as a sort of joke.
Yeah, where they like flew him out to some fucking island.
What is it? The Hidden Ojai Valley or something? Where you get to stay at a sun spa and all sorts of shit.
And played on a 3D TV.
You get to wear a custom helmet going in, and then you get this awesome thing designed just for your gamer tag and all this stuff. And you get to play on a 3D TV in a controlled environment, blah, blah, blah. And
wonder how much that money could have gone into development.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing could save Zach or Treyarch.
I don't. It's just this industry.
Good luck, Treyarch.
As we're scaling up, too much money is going towards marketing. That's why I like indie games.
This is what happened to E3.
Yeah. But really, once we turned E3 into bare bones, everyone fucking hated it. Then again, everyone hates when a party with free beer starts charging.
Yeah.
Or scales it down. So, that's the most recent gaming news that we culled from the herd. It's pretty interesting, in my opinion. So, coming up next is our little discussion of all of the GameStop like bombshells that have dropped in the last week and a half. Jesus. Okay, so here's the major news story for the past week and a half or so. GameStop has bought a number of companies and done a new endeavor on top of that. So let me go ahead and just start with the first bit. The two companies that they did buy was Impulse and Spawn Labs. These people are involved in digital distribution. Spawn Labs is in the process of purchasing Stardock's digital distribution platform, Impulse. So yeah, this thing it's like a competitor to Steam. It's like a really much lower end competitor to Steam because, Valve has the definitive digital distribution platform. But this was pretty much the only legitimate competition from what I've been reading. Like way better than the Xbox Live games, Marketplace for PC, or what are they, Windows games?
Windows games. That sounds
games for Windows.
Games for Windows. Yeah. Much more legitimate than anything involved on the Microsoft end of things. And actually has a legitimate chance of working against Steam, of being competition against Steam compared to most things. So apparently GameStop, one of the most hated places to buy your games by gamers, whether justifiably or not.
Yeah, a lot of that hate is just random, like, oh, the clerks were mean to me.
Yeah, it's a specialty store. The clerks are mean. Deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, you go to the Sony store, you get looks. Like, you don't make a six-figure sum. What are you... salary? What are you doing here?
What is that, the Bose store?
Yeah, pretty much. It just says Sony instead of Bosey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So... let's see. So Spawn Labs, which I mentioned earlier, they bought, is the lesser known entity in this deal where they bought these two digital companies, and they are basically a peer-to-peer gaming service similar to OnLive. It specializes in streaming games to the users via, cloud and stuff like that.
I didn't think anyone else was on that except OnLive.
Yeah, I guess they had some pretty bad marketing department over there at Spawn Labs, because I kind of kept an eye out for that, but yeah, didn't see anything. Maybe it just slipped under my eye or something. But yeah, so they're gearing up for digital distribution and stuff like that. Yeah. So, okay. Here's the three things that GameStop is saying Impulse will provide the users with. Three components for studios and publishers, actually. It's the way they put this. The first is the client itself will provide the games to users. The second component is the reactor, from which will operate as a hub for all secondary functions such as DRM, achievements, friends list, cloud-based saves, and account management functions. And the third and final component is the publisher, which will give publishers the power to manage all aspects of their game with powerful real-time reporting and management tools.
Wow. They use power twice in that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel confident about that.
You should. So, yeah. That just seems kind of publisher-focused just from that little list there. Not so much focused on the end-user experience. They did list a lot of features that Steam does have that's fairly high-end, cloud-based saves and achievements and stuff, and the DRM.
Friends list and achievements, yeah, that's very...
Yeah, but that's kind of token nowadays. So in order to push it extra far, I guess they need publisher support, so that's why this is really up for publishers. I think that's really what is interesting about this. There's no real talk about how this will affect the stores themselves, but they're noting that Impulse will become integrated with GameStop.com within the next few months.
Wow, that's pretty fast.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So I wonder if they're going to try and move that in and kind of congregate into that as well, which is that indie site.
Yeah, they also got that.
Yeah, they purchased that not long ago.
They purchased Congregate not too long ago as well. So, on top of that, they also said that the Spawn Labs acquisition certainly makes it clear that they'll be pushing streaming games on multiple devices as soon as possible. They're gonna execute that once integration and testing on new consumer interface is complete. So apparently they are really pushing to get here with that product. Kind of vague on when that's going to be possible. From what I hear, feedback-wise on Live, the lag is a deal killer for a number of games.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. The ones I played actually worked pretty well, but...
that was the nature of the game, right?
Well, I mean, even like a racing game was doing fairly well.
Yeah.
But I could see, like, I was having some problems. And
it
wasn't frequent, though.
Yeah, and to... make a point here, we actually have some really good internet where we live.
Yeah, we do have some high-end stuff here.
We have a relatively high-end connection compared to the average user. I've looked at those statistics not too long ago, and we're at least twice. Yeah, because a lot of people are on DSL, a lot of people are on really low-end cable, where the cable companies don't have to try hard to compete. Yeah, so, our experience is completely different from an experience of somebody God knows where.
Yeah.
So the success of that really depends on how they can innovate on Live's achievements and, really push home the value of that. Maybe if they can tie it into some sort of GameStop program. I don't know.
They probably will. I mean,
they
everything seems
will.
like they're trying to get those power-up reward points.
Yeah, that program. Do you know
that
about
is
that?
now integrated into Congregate as well.
Since you know about that, go ahead and inform Aggro and our listeners about the power-up program and how that works out in general.
Yeah,
just for the store.
Yeah, it's something where you have the card,
right?
And the card builds up points as you buy stuff. So every point you get, it adds up to you're getting free stuff on the website.
Yeah, but the scale is just like most of those point systems, especially with smoking, where where it's such an insanely high number. You, for reasons we're not going to list, tend to trade in and buy a lot of games, Bob, at GameStop. You said how many points did you have? You had like some...
I had enough points for maybe $10 worth of off.
And
that's after buying my 3DS and some other large purchases.
So the point system doesn't hold a lot of value, but it could hook people in.
Right. Some people just get addicted to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But now where they're doing the Congregate thing, that's interesting because you don't pay for those games. You just earn achievements in the games and you get points. So I have to wonder how many points you get for those and how that's going to balance.
Yeah.
And if they do that with full-on retail games like PC, that's actually something kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. If that tied into the point system, that would really add value that Steam doesn't have.
Yeah, so it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, it is. They have potential here. General opinion has been that it could be squandered.
Yeah.
So here's the next thing. GameStop and Aggregate Markets. I hate your name, guys.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. They launched a Facebook store for GameStop. So it's like
the hell's
this.
a Facebook store?
You're going to go to this page on Facebook, and you can buy games in store
I've heard about
or
this.
online.
How the like what's the difference between going to the GameStop Facebook to buy stuff and going to the GameStop.com to buy stuff?
You can get to this one from your Facebook?
Yeah, that's pretty much the only use. And honestly, that's enough for some people.
That's
It's
amazing.
It's amazing and agitating and all sorts of things. But in any case, this company, AdGridGit, I'm going to call them AG Markets. In any case, AG Markets said to the people interviewing them that they pitched the idea to GameStop about 6 months ago, and they expect to continue innovating their store and rolling out various new features and stuff like that through the Facebook store. It does keep up with your points, as you were mentioning, the PowerPoint or Power Up card system.
Yeah, the Power Up reward points.
Okay, yeah, so it does keep a track of that, so that makes it easier for them, the user, to keep track of that.
Yeah, that's good, because currently it's the only place you can find it is either in store if the store has a kiosk to do it,
Yeah,
or
kiosk scanner, or asking the clerk.
no,
No?
you can't ask the clerks.
What?
They aren't able to do that. So it's only specific GameStop stores that have that said kiosk, or you can go to the website. And it's a specific website just for that. So if they integrate that with Facebook, that's actually a good idea.
Now, I don't know a whole lot about this power-up card system, but that sounds like a pain in the dick.
Yeah.
Only being able to check it in those two specific spots.
These two things put together just sound like desperate moves.
Yeah, actually.
Just sort of scraping at the bottom of the barrel.
When a lot of analysts and a lot of people high up in the industry kept saying over and over and over, digital distribution is going to be the death of retail and GameStop specifically because
they're the first to go.
Yeah, exactly. Walmart ain't going down. Kmart, well, if they go down, it's for different reasons. GameStop makes their money on used games, and everyone wants to kind of get rid of the secondhand sales market and push digital. So GameStop really, really wants to go digital too, so they can cling on to this. And it's really funny because, much like most companies, their message as a company tends to be schizophrenic, you know? They'll say one thing one month, and the next month they'll pull a 180. You remember how Sony used to be really fucking bad about that early this gen. They're like, Rumble's last gen. 1 year later, Rumble's amazing, it's here, and it's worth $10 extra. So, yeah, it's amusing for them to be like, no, specialty shops and retail stores are going nowhere. And then they buy up like 3 or 4 digital distribution-related companies in a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trying to just make sure that if things do go sour,
that they have relevance as a company. Which, honestly, when you're buying another company that does this, there's a good chance that it'll work. If GameStop hired people to program their own from the ground up, that probably would have been shit.
Yeah, that couldn't have ended well.
So at least they did the smart thing. There's another article where Tony Bartel talks about GameStop's new digital strategy. Wow, that's how they're phrasing it? The new digital strategy? Let's see.
Is this Tony Bartel anyone special?
Yeah, Tony Bartel is actually the president of GameStop.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
he's kind of relevant. Just a little relevant in the GameStop sort of ring. In any case, he's just talking about the digital plan, and he even talks about the fact GameStop may be getting their own tablet.
What?
GameStop will be getting their own tablet.
Wow.
This may be one of the devices that other thing may stream to. You know? Because it's supposed to be streaming games live.
Making its own tablet.
It's just...
I don't think... Does GameStop know what kind of company it is?
I don't... They have a shitload of cash. That's what kind of company they are. They could buy
I just couldn't see that sort of thing selling at a GameStop. Or
I couldn't either. The type of people who frequent GameStops, generally speaking, demographically speaking, probably aren't packing the cash to buy a tablet.
No,
let alone the incentive, the reasoning to do such. That's absurd. So yeah, Tony Bartel's sitting here and he says, if we can work with our partners and the OEMs and they come up with a great tablet that is enabled with a great gaming experience and coupled with a Bluetooth controller, then there's no need to go out and develop on our own. Yeah, they're pretty much just working with other people to make the product for them, kind of like Google tends to.
That's
for
kind of an interesting
Google
concept,
phone.
though. A Bluetooth controller for a tablet. Like
Yeah,
something packaged.
I'm
with
surprised Sony didn't think of that, and GameStop did.
Yeah, that's
Because
upsetting.
maybe that PlayStation certified tablet we were talking about earlier will work with the PS3 controller. I mean,
That
the
would be
PSP Go
amazing.
did.
That'd be really awesome.
That would, and that would be a legitimately good feature to stick on the motherfucker. That would actually be like, oh yeah, you could buy this tablet, or you could buy that awesome PlayStation gaming tablet that works with PS3 controllers, and it is all around fucking awesome. So, just looks like they're really pushing the power-up card, really pushing for, like, they make it a tablet, they're doing this digital thing, that's what they're doing now, it's their new direction. And he describes it as the next explosion in the gaming space, or actually he describes tablets as the next explosion in the gaming space. I don't really think so at the price they're at now.
Yeah.
Now, give it time, the price will drop. They really could be, especially when coupled with a controller. That is so important in this equation. When coupled with a controller, I could see a tablet being a legitimate gaming platform, but as is, not really.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that the mobile phone market took off so crazy is
It's
that
because they had a
everyone
phone.
needed a mobile phone, and if it played games, heck yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I keep expecting tablets to add phone functionality, and some asshole to be walking around with an iPad on the side of his head.
Oh god, it's the N-Gage all over again.
Oh my god, only it doesn't look like a taco. They've completely ruined it.
The N-Gage was amazing. How dare
We
you
miss
hate
you,
the dinner?
Engage. Come back.
Come back. We're just kidding. We didn't
Yeah,
like
no.
you. Man, they think piracy on the PSP is bad. The N-Gage. Man, that got raped like right off the bat. It's like, N-Gage, hey, every game's free. Wow, really? Awesome.
All of them? Cool.
That sounds cool. But, yeah, so... Yeah. It's interesting that they're making this push,
Yeah, I mean, GameStop isn't the kind of company that can sell a contract or anything either, so selling those at the store, they're going to have some sort of competitive pricing.
Yeah, and they definitely have the deep pockets to do such a thing, but once again, they don't have the incentive to do that. I mean, yeah, getting a GameStop tablet ties you to GameStop and buying games through GameStop, but...
You don't get a 3G network or anything. You don't get, like,
you
the
could have a
constant
3G
internet.
chip or a Wi-Fi chip and have to pay for, the different versions like they're talking about doing for the NGP. And then you go sign up the 3G at your carrier. Then again, it's not... To be perfectly honest, Bob, they could overcomplicate things, require another person to come in and work pretty much at every store and be able to sign up contracts for various mobile carriers. This would not be the first time that a large company, that is a retail company, has a specific person who signs devices to contracts.
You're talking about Walmart, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
I'm talking about Walmart. And to be honest, I could see GameStop
guess
making this
GameStop
move
is-
as a sick and desperate move.
Wow.
If they really want to rock the market, they could fucking do that.
Yeah.
But whether or not they will, that has yet to...
Well, they might pull a Radio Shack-like thing, pretty much teach the clerk the sign of contracts and get advanced enough computers to do it in each store.
Yeah, it's definitely come far from the older days, so that would be way more possible as long as they set up the network properly. So, yeah, I could see that happening. It's interesting.
It says here that the GameStop is planning to do 3D... What am I saying?
They're going to make reality 3D. That's what you're saying. And
Oh my god, I've been wanting reality to be 3D for so many years.
Me too. I cried when I realized video games had that right over us human beings. That's not fair. But what he was trying to say is GameStop plans to offer streaming console games to other screens. At its Investors Day meeting, the company said it showed Little Big Planet and Halo Reach streaming to tablets. And,
That's an interesting concept.
it showed both of those, and those are two different games from two different
Different
publishers.
Publishers completely, yeah.
So this is really driving things towards a hardware agnostic setup. Yeah. So another interesting thing, now that we're mentioning this, Sony and Microsoft, same game, same tablet, or different games, same tablet. What's the controller when it works with both?
I don't even know. Well,
It's going to be a GameStop controller, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have similar controllers.
Yeah, the PlayStation
Relatively,
and Xbox
yes.
have the same amount of buttons.
Yeah, it's just joystick placement's a little different, and the bumper
it's all the same buttons.
Triggers.
Pretty much, I don't think we're going to differ from that going on until we just completely...
Yeah, I think the PS3 controller or the PS4 controller is going to be a hell of a lot more ergonomic than the PS3. I think that's going to be more comfortable. But yeah, GameStop's probably going to be pretty much a 360 controller.
Having seen
iteration.
what GameStop controllers look like, it probably won't be comfortable or work-wise.
Yeah, I would think if they're really pushing this, which it sounds like it. They bought a shitload of people.
They are like, this is a crazy amount of
ambition,
just going for it.
So here's another interesting quote. We can literally use the consoles in a data center environment and stream those to the player with little to no latency. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, so looks like they're really, really pushing forward with this, like buying so many companies. Whether or not this is good for the industry is...
Yeah, that makes things confusing for the customer at that point, doesn't it? Like, I can get this one thing that'll play games from both of these, but if I buy one of these things, it won't play the other ones of these things?
Okay, allow me to explain. You're the customer. I'm the I'm the GameStop employee. You ready?
Okay.
You ready, Bob? Hey, welcome to GameStop. How's it going?
All right.
Can I help you find anything? Were you looking for a new console, perhaps? So we have many new consoles.
Oh yeah, I was looking at these new pads you got here.
Yeah. These no, you're
iPads.
thinking no. These aren't iPads. These are G pads.
Oh, okay.
This is the G spot right here.
Oh God, I was really hoping.
You know, honestly, MTV has a thing called the G spot about gaming. In any case, fine. It's the G pad. This is the G pad. It's for GameStop. Okay, so we appreciate it that you don't call it the iPad. But here, sir, let me explain this. This is a tablet, right? You see how it's a tablet? And have you ever played a game on a tablet before?
No.
Okay, well, when you play it on a tablet, it's kind of big. You see the size of that, right? That's not like small like a controller, like the Wii, you know, how it fits in your hand like a remote control?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this thing's kind of big and cumbersome. So you don't want to stick your hand in that. No. You, good sir, want a controller to go with that. And that's exactly what this does. Doesn't that sound awesome? It syncs up like that?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it play?
Oh, it plays games. See, it can play games from either of these platforms. Now, quite an excursus real quick, pulling out of character. GameStop is already pissing off enough legitimate developers by going, no, you can buy it used for $5 less. And pissing off enough console manufacturers by going, no, you can buy it used for X many dollars less. They're not suggesting...
You don't even
that
buy
you don't even buy it. That you just buy their thing and play games for the other. Okay.
Yeah, because like I can see if they push forward this in a desperate effort to not fall out of the industry by just remaking the industry in their own image, that it like Microsoft just goes, oh, you think you assholes have cash to burn on dominating an industry? Let's do this.
The funny thing is how many initiatives out of Microsoft have failed that they tried that in. Zune. Mm-hmm. There are two more that are such good examples. They're the exact same fucking situation. They had the smartphones before the Windows Live phones that failed, and then the Windows Live phones are also not taking off. They're still negligible.
Speaking of the Zune, that reminds me, GameStop they partnered up with the Zune stuff, and they were selling that in stores, and that didn't work.
That didn't work at all. So this may be another Zune situation. Okay, going back into character. So yeah, this will play games from either the PS3 or the 360 when you sign up for the subscription to the GameStop game thing. Yeah, okay. That's how you get to stream all these games to this tablet, and it plays on it. That's.
I hope it's called that. The GameStop game thing.
The GameStop game thing. So does that sound pretty good to you? I mean, this is a measly $600, and
it's only twice as much as the consoles, but you get it in your hands.
But you get both of it. It's portable. It's small. It goes anywhere, and you got this cool controller to go with it. Nothing would look fancier than say you're on an airplane and you're bored, so you bust it out and you pull out your controller and you just crash the airplane because that's definitely not airplane friendly.
Having a full size controller just sort of fuck with the portability.
A little
I
bit,
wouldn't-
but that's depending on the design of the controller. It's still way more portable than a full fucking console. That much is
Yeah,
certain.
I wouldn't put this in the zone of, or using the controller in the zone of like what you'd use instead of a PSP or a DS. That's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, maybe not. I don't know. I always wanted to keep a controller in a backpack or in my car or something for my PSP, but that's a PSP Go exclusive feature. So it seems like pairing a controller with a portable is just a feature reserved exclusively for market failures.
okay.
Okay, so yeah, I can see how this would get confusing to explain to the customer. It plays both games.
Yeah, it plays both games, and
Costs
that's
almost twice
obviously
the price,
bad for the publishers, as you were saying.
Yeah, it's definitely bad for the hardware owners, the really large publishers in the industry. Nintendo's never going to go along with this.
Yeah, no. I was trying to think about how Nintendo would react to this.
They don't need to.
We took the computer on tomorrow. Nintendo bought GameStop just for fun.
Wow.
Nintendo stuff.
I wonder
We're
what
going to get the company, and we're going to make shitty cars with it now.
Hot Wheels leading the way.
That's amazing.
Okay, so having discussed the tablet part of this and the digital distribution, GameStop being GameStop and buying a digital platform, this was a digital platform before GameStop bought it. There were games published on this. One example of such is called Star Ruler. Star Ruler is now no longer available on Impulse, the system that they bought. The reason why is that the developer of Star Ruler did not sign to put it up on a GameStop-owned platform, and they're rather irate that GameStop now owns the platform that they published their game on.
Wow.
They have very strong views against how GameStop works as a company.
Yeah.
So they have just decided, fuck it. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest problem going forward with this initiative is, this is an interesting thing, this is a cool thing, this would be really great, but GameStop, you have to remember that you're GameStop, and people already hate you.
Yeah, I think what really, some of them just hate. Haters gonna hate.
Do this
they're
under a different company name, and most people might not notice.
Yeah, good point.
Funko
but
Land.
Another
I'd buy a tablet from somebody called Funko Land.
they bought them, right? That was a legitimate
that
video
was...
game store, and they bought them. See, GameStop is this hierarchy of smaller companies.
They've bought so many things. Some games are still called
Activision.
God damn.
Yeah.
It's like no, it's more like Atari, because what's currently Atari was actually Infogrames, which bought over 10 different developers / publishers and became this Uber publisher, which still sucks to this very day.
How did they do it?
I don't know. Phil Harrison went in and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna save this. I'm a superhero," and so far,
He's not much of a superhero there.
yeah, I think he left actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now he's just MIA. From what I know, I haven't been keeping track of his
He
lack
lives
of...
in mountains and hunts the elusive rabbits.
He blinds them with his shiny head. But in any case, yeah, I don't think GameStop with its negative image is going to have a really easy time getting the digital distribution going for them, because Valve has way more street cred
Yeah.
than GameStop ever could.
Valve waits till they launch, waits till afterwards, and hey, we're copying what GameStop did and putting out this tablet. That's in the press release. We're copying what GameStop did, and they just fucking crush them.
Yeah,
that would work.
I would
That
buy.
would work.
Hey, Valve. Make that tablet. I would buy a tablet from you before I'd buy it from Sony, because I respect you as a company more than I do Sony.
It's
I mean, that would look so pimp too. It'd have the little Steam Gear thing on
Hell
the back.
yes.
And,
Be like, so what's your plan with this new initiative? We want to fuck over GameStop vindictively. Two, please.
So what plays on this? Well, you sign up for the small service of Steam, and you actually play on the PCs in our data center, and it streams to you. And we have really awesome pipes because we're Valve. You're shitting me. So it actually has really good latency compared to all of the competition. It has really good games compared to all the competition, and you have street cred compared to all the competition.
So you can buy this version for $300 because of all this, or you can buy this version for $600, which really is just a box. And we use that $600 to mail hate mail to everyone in GameStop and egg their cars.
No, I think that's the collector's edition.
Yeah, there you go.
You get Gabe Newell throwing a soda cup at, I don't know, Ted Bartel, and then it's like a
Tony
tiny
Bartel?
Tony Bartel.
I think so.
T Bartel. We're going with
TB.
TB.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
TB.
you're right. It's what? Never mind. In any case, yeah, a little crystal diorama of throwing a soda cup at him, and then all that hate mail sent automatically. But yeah, a Valve tablet would be amazing. That would be great. That's the only tablet I could ever see successfully, rather just succeeding on a large scale.
Yeah.
So hopefully Valve will step up its game and be
Because if
like,
anybody's
hey,
going to bring out a hardware agnostic sort of culture, it's going to be fucking Valve.
yeah, because I mean they're already doing it. You buy Portal 2 on the PS3, you get it for the PC, you get it for Mac.
Valve's like, we're going to be doing this. We're like, awesome, which means Half-Life Episode 3 is going to be pushed back a little. God damn it!
They're not making that game. You know that, Aggro, right?
No, they totally are.
Aggro, don't cry. Not twice in one podcast. Man, Double Upper's been a double downer so far.
Seriously, this is just like all bad news except that burnout thing at the beginning.
The burnout thing?
That was fucking awesome.
And I found the NGP thing kind of hilariously confusing. They're like, it's delayed, and then everyone else at Sony's like, what? Fukuoka's like, nani kaze? But, yeah, so I guess that's our GameStop thing. In conclusion, everyone here at GigaBoots.com says, Valve, make a tablet. We'll buy it. Because, once again, this ties back into the being a Valve fanboy. We don't think, oh, man, that's too expensive. We're not fucking buying that. We're going, oh, man, it's going to take a while to save up for it. Gotta get a second job. Sony's like, hey, where were you with the second job for the PS3 at launch? And we're like, ooh, Sony. Who invited you in? So, on to the roundtable.
He says like we're not Sony fanboys who did this.
Yeah.
That's true. We did,
Fair and balanced, except we like Sony more.
well, I mean, honestly, if Microsoft was doing this, well, I'd assume it would fail like the Zune and the Windows Live Phone and the other thing.
And they'd probably be made by some marketing department. Yeah, okay. I won't want that.
No, there is no controller. There's a camera.
Like, they hold a press conference, and like, they're going to announce it and its features, and Peter Molyneux walks on stage, and I just shit myself and break a TV.
At the same time, or in that order, because if you
like
go,
swift motion, me shitting myself propels me off of the couch bodily, or I fling my now thrust forward arm into a television.
that's almost Castle Crashers like, you know, with that force.
That'd be cool.
But in any case, yeah, let's go on to the actual legitimate roundtable, which isn't about major news, and it's just sort of us pontificating about when exactly is this gen ending? Like, so far, this generation has been going for 5 years on the 360, 5 years in 4 months, 5 months, and on the PS3, 4 years in that amount of time. It's been a pretty long gen because there's no sign of the next generation consoles.
Yeah, by this point, we would have seen, like, PS2 within 4 years had something else, or they were starting to talk about PS3, right?
Yeah, I think PS2 was, they were talking about it in interviews by 1998. I think they were doing that. And then 1999, they had announced it, I'm pretty sure. They were like, it's coming out in 2000. Fucking suck it. Right. So, yeah, by this point, we definitely would have more information about next generation stuff if that was happening. I mean, look at what happened with the 3DS and the NGP. We knew about the 3DS a full year before it came out, and the NGP almost a whole year before it came out. Ultimately, a whole year before it comes out.
Well, yeah, Sony has always been talking about they want the 10-year cycle.
Yeah.
Well, but the 10-year cycle was more applying to, like, the PS2 has a really long cycle.
Yeah, like they're still doing stuff with the PS2.
Games.
I mean, hell, isn't it past 10 years and we're still selling those at retail?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because that came out in 2000.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, I do like that, you know, they're slowing down. The cycle's getting longer. It's
funny because Moore's Law, for those who don't know, and this is paraphrasing, every year or 15 months or 9 months, the amount of transistors that can be fit on a square piece of silicon doubles. Thus, you know, the power of a platform, quote, doubles. But it's not that simple, and I don't want to go into that here. But yeah, as that scales up and things get infinitely better, asymptotally approaches infinity on power levels.
Sony's just waiting for the singularity.
Yeah, clearly. That's no PS4 until the singularity.
Just go straight to PS9.
The value of adding that much processing capability is actually doing the reverse, kind of. It's declining faster and faster. I mean, between the PS1 and PS2, oh my god, you can play movies, the memory card stores shitloads of saves, you can do all sorts of stuff. I mean, yeah, you'll still hit the cap on a memory card, but you can play these games that are amazing on the PS2. And then the PS3, holy fucking shit, this is expensive, but ignoring that, it can store pretty much as many saves as you would ever need. It has insane processing power to the point where developers still are trying to find out how to fucking use it. Most of them cheap out by doing graphics on the cell processor and not adding gameplay value, with the processing power. It's just the next leap. What do they even add to the console?
Yeah,
to justify that? I mean, the 3DS.
It can get prettier, but
yes, this is really a ceiling of the medium. We don't need more power to make better games anymore.
Right. Like, I think we can make new games can arise from more processing capability. Like, if we can process better, not more cores, but better cores, which was a funny lesson we learned this gen. I'll go into that in a second. There are certain things you can do in a video game, like, that we aren't doing now. Like, Dynasty Warriors is still rendering a relatively, for a Chinese battlefield, small amount of people. Like, there are a lot it's rendering on screen, but there are certain games that could benefit from rendering even more.
Right, there's always that.
There's always the plethora of enemies sort of gameplay that gets better and better each generation. What were we... So there's that processing-wise. So there are games that can arise from this, but you are right. For the average game, for most games in general, scaling up past here, processing-wise at least, not graphically, but processing-wise, really just adds features that make budgets absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the sweet spot would be actually getting...
better tools.
Yeah, better tools, making it easier for developers to use all this power.
Yeah, like the PS3 has a shitload of power, but it's not relatively easy to use. Whereas the 360 isn't as processing capable of a console, which, if you disagree with that statement, feel free to make a comment here and we'll do this. I wrote articles on that shit. In any case, but it's easier to use. You can do a lot of really cheap, easy ways to get performance out of the 360 compared to the PS3. PS3 is really difficult. So, if they had a smarter design for the PS3, that actually would extend this even further, in a way. In another way, it would have shortened, how it developed out. Like, here's another thing, not just talking about games, but features that come with consoles. There are features we can definitely do as we add more hardware, and I think featurization is really what's important for the next generation of consoles. Like, imagine you can turn on your console, you go to your friends list, and it's like, they're playing blah. Imagine, because they set this feature, you can watch them play blah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sony has done countless surveys that talk about, hey, do you want this feature? And, it's obvious they're eyeing it, but they haven't really acted on it yet, because that is a lot of processing power. You pretty much need a dedicated unit to be able to do that. You need some sort of data center that's managing that to some extent. But it is a really, really cool feature, really cool idea.
Yeah.
And I think that and some other things are really important. Remember at the PS3 launch when you hit the PlayStation button, supposedly you would jump back out to the cross-media bar and be able to do anything on it while playing the game in the background.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen remotely. I was excited to browse the internet and go to GameFAQs in the middle of games. That was the number one thing I was excited about. And then I'm like, even if that doesn't work, we can do pictures. And I can take pictures. There are pictures online of maps of shit.
Yeah.
But we didn't even get that.
Yeah.
Which is weird because we got custom soundtracks. You would think.
Eventually.
You think, it's just opening a picture. How hard can that be?
You can do that on a single cell core. A single SPU. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to do that. That's ridiculous. So, with that in mind, and the whole NGP is one of the first products, Move being the first, to come out of Sony in this programmer company type air. The NGP being a much more programmable architecture, easy to port to, easy to code for, because it's 4 ARM11 cores, I believe. I really do believe that is actually closer to the sweet point of performance, the nice, like, this is the niche we need for games from here on out, than the PS3 is. Because the PS3 has 2 memory banks, it has all these things that make development kind of hard. If development was easier on the PS3, I would definitely say, yeah, we can stick with this for a good bit longer. But there still is, like, don't you think the PlayStation Network would have way more games if it was easy to develop for?
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's why I feel the NGP has a lot of potential on that front. So,
which is also, I think, something Sony's waiting for, to see how the NGP does, to see, like, we have this GameStop thing going out, the iPhone market, or, like, the portable phone game market is expanding, the casual thing is going. I really think before we do another cycle of, if we have another set of console wars, the industry is going to change before we do it, to see where it's going, and go in that direction.
Yeah, because they have the time to do that. Games are now $60. I mean, there are cheaper titles, but games are generally $60. They're expensive things. Nobody's lining up to buy another... Well, okay, fine. We're lining up, but the general majority of people aren't lining up to buy the next piece of hardware. So there was some news, a rumor that came out of a really, really reputable, trustworthy source earlier this year that said Sony is actually pushing off manually their PS4 plans. They've pretty much canceled all development on that front to focus on the PS3 and how that interacts with the NGP. I think the NGP itself, being a new piece of hardware, actually has the potential to extend the PS3's life.
Yeah.
If you can make a game for both in the way the NGP and the PS3 connects is smooth enough, that can add a lot of value to developing an NGP game, developing a PS3 game, and getting those two pieces of hardware. Because if I can hook up my PSP or my NGP SP2 move to the PS3 Station Plus with the USB cable and sync up save data and trophies like that, like really fast, which is something Sony really needs to get better at, transfer speeds and programming in general for their OSs. That would be amazing, because it's like, okay, I played Uncharted 3 last night, or let's go with a better game that would definitely appear across multiple platforms, because we know that's not happening.
That Kojima game.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
like a better game?
Kojima game. Yeah. Better game for the conversation. Better than Uncharted 3? Punch to the mouth.
It's knife fight time.
Knife fight. You just fucked up, bitch. Kojima apparently is working on a game that he can't reveal any information about that we should look forward to at E3 that connects the PS3 and the NGP really well, from what he's saying.
You just strap the NGP over one eye and you can see. See, like, I love that connectivity idea, because I really thought that, like, when they started mixing it up with, like, remote play and the connectivity between the PSP and the PS3, I thought that was going to save the PSP. I thought they were going to just make that work.
You know,
they probably realized that the PSP itself wasn't good enough for this.
Yeah, here's another thing. Most people don't think about this, and I feel it's relatively insightful, because every time I told someone this, they're like, I didn't think about that. And they're lying, and I have terrible self-esteem problems, and oh god, go to my website. But no, the NGP has way more processing power than the PSP. Mm-hmm. The thing to really scale up in the last 10 years that has made video on the internet way better isn't exactly internet speeds, though that has scaled up. It's codecs. Our codecs for video have gotten way better, but they require a good bit of processing power, and the PSP just cannot scale and deal with that on the fly and output instructions and blah, blah, blah like it should. So when you hook an NGP up to a PS3 for remote play, I'm fucking telling you, hands down, it's going to look better than it does with a PSP. Whether or not it's more responsive is a different thing, but it is definitely going to look better, which is a damn good thing. That is nice to just get a feature for free that's like, boom, hey, must be the money. You know, just be like that. We really need to see, and there was somebody who said Sony has a really long track history of dropping the ball on a number of initiatives because they have their hands in too many pots. Is that the correct saying? They have their hands in too many...
fingers in too many pies, something like that.
There you go, something like that.
Too many dishes.
Too many dishes.
Those fingers are all over the fucking place.
So many goddamn fingers.
All up in this shit and that shit.
Sony,
God damn it, Sony, wash your hands.
You don't need 40 fingers. That's just too much. But
that's like a tentacle rape fist right there. That's like the best martial art ever, the tentacle rape fist.
I feel violated. Oh. Okay, in any case, I can't even remember what I was talking... Oh, right. A bunch of initiatives they kind of dropped the ball on. It's because of that I kind of cast doubt on this concept that the NGP and the PS3 can have the sort of connectivity necessary to make that a legitimate feature that will extend both the life of the PS3 and add more value to the NGP.
Yeah, I mean, if they're actually taking those developers off of the PS4, though, maybe if they're putting that much into it, maybe they can actually pull it off.
This is true, because it is a good bit of infrastructure, and it's a good bit of good thinking on that front. And then it's also a lot of software on the hardware devices themselves. And if they can get their shit together for this, if this is a legitimate, we stuck a team on this feature sort of deal, then yeah, that will really work out.
Now,
this has a lot of potential. Hopefully they don't squander it.
Yeah, what I'm worried about is like one of the other two companies, probably Microsoft, jumping the gun, being like, we don't have anything like this to release, and trying to launch another console gen while Sony's not even thinking about doing another console gen.
That would be really awkward.
You know, I've been thinking about that, and I was kind of leaning towards that. But by now, let's say it came out this year, we would have heard about it.
Oh yeah, no, there's no way it can come out.
It's not coming out this year. Next year, we also probably would have heard about it. With the way the generational cycles have been going, we heard about them a good bit before they happened, especially recently. Mm-hmm. Like, if you look at the 360, we knew about that several months before its official unveiling. Mm-hmm. If you look at the PS3, we knew about that way before its unveiling. The PSP, we knew about that substantially before its unveiling. And as the internet gets more proliferated, the amount of information leaking out.
This is one of the most open industries.
And that sort of thing. That leaked really early.
Yeah. Stuff's just leaking like a motherfucker. We got to get some plumbers up in this industry. Shit. This industry needs more cock. What?
Those words are pronounced differently. I hate that joke.
Okay, I will never make that joke again.
Good.
Okay, then. What were we talking about?
Something about cock.
I can't get my mind off of cock. That joke's terrible. I know it. Oh, yeah, information leaking. I think even if they were to do it next year, like in the middle to late next year, we would have some information, because some developer would list it. Yeah, you know how these things go.
Unless they were like really secretive, but yeah, you'd have to get it out to developers. That's how the NGP leaked.
That's how the NGP leaked, and then the hardware. Yeah.
Microsoft's like, we're not going to make you buy, a whole nother console. That'd be stupid. So we have this base dock that you can put your 360 into to increase the process.
This sounds a little familiar.
So Sega's back there like, come here. Fucking stupid.
Wait, no, do it. I want to see someone else do this.
Yes, Microsoft. In console hell.
Oh, that was funny. I need to smoke. Because apparently Sega is a sickly old man.
I heard that a long while back that there were rumors about Sega doing another console gen.
Yeah, Sega.
I think somebody just got drunk and talked to the press. Like, no, we're going to make a console. Sega's coming back, man.
I'm okay with Sega coming back in the next year or so. It's okay for them to make a console then. It's not okay for Microsoft
too.
So it's Sega console. There's like a bunch of Sonic games on it, right? No, Nintendo owns that bitch.
When did that? We needed money to make the console. Oh my god, you're retarded.
No, it's okay. We have Ristar. Nobody fucking remembers him. Vector Man? Keep talking.
That's not even yours. You never owned that.
How did you money? Oh, okay, that's cool. But yeah,
Columns
so
3.
I would buy a console just for Platinum Games.
You know what? Yeah, if it was the Platinum Games console or Tango Gameworks console, that would be pretty awesome. But we do know that Tango Gameworks, which is Shinji Mikami's studio, for those who don't know,
working with ZeniMax.
Yeah, they're working with ZeniMax on that awesome-looking game. What the hell's the name of that game? That one. Oh wait, no, they're working with ZeniMax on some other game, but they're also working with EA on the Suda51 Shinji Mikami crossover thing.
Right.
Yeah. That thing looks awesome.
It does.
Yeah, so, as long as Mikami is working on other platforms, there's no need to jump the gun on a Sega platform. But, okay, let's talk about, like, we've talked enough about Sony and how they could extend the life of their console, because, it's hard to program for, so the AAA games get better and better and better and better and better, and that's how that works.
Right.
And the NGP will help extend that, and they can add a lot of value
as well, and that's kind of what Microsoft is doing with the Kinect.
Yeah, but the Kinect's, well, if you work it out to how many households have Kinect and how many households have the Move, Kinect's winning in that sense.
I would imagine.
If you look at revenue generated or units shipped, then the Move looks like it's winning. From what I understand.
Right, where the Move is one controller you have to buy multiple of. You can
in the
easily
camera.
in the camera. You can get a lot of padding with those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, it's kind of hard to decipher numbers nowadays now that the NDP or NPD has stepped out of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about Nintendo and then Microsoft. Like, focus on Microsoft. So for Nintendo, the Wii is actually starting to slow down sales-wise. The 3DS just came out, and the DS is slowing down sales-wise now because the 3DS
They're trying to
is
kill
out.
it, yeah. They're basically like just
holding it under the water.
Holding it underwater, holding its mouse. Just letting it die.
Please die, please. Because of the piracy. The piracy is rampant on the DS. And it has pretty much... Yeah. Like, as bad as the PSP, if not slightly worse.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive.
Yeah, you can just buy one of those cards and boom.
Done.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hear they already have problems with the 3DS for that. So.
For DS games. I heard that the 3DS was compromised another time, so maybe that fully compromised the 3DS games, but to be honest, I don't know. You know how hackers are about, oh, I was the first to break it. Like, some guy was really fucking proud he got an NES emulator running on the PS3, but it turned out to be something through the Blu-ray Movies JavaScript player.
Oh, wow,
yeah,
that's
so
impressive.
And it didn't have sound.
That's so impressive.
Yeah, that's you elite master hacker. Actually, you know what? That's cool that you got that working, but it's really lame that it's not functional, has no value. Nice claim to fame. But in any case, so the DS is kind of, you know, subsiding because they need the 3DS to succeed. It being a $250 piece of hardware sold for $101, as many analysts have pointed out by now, or at least that one analyst group has
you had that
pointed.
Backwards. Because it's not sold at $101.
Oh, right. Sorry. I do
that
have
would
that
be
backwards.
amazing.
The hardware cost $101 and it was sold at $250. Yeah, that would be like a Sony-like deal where you pay $600 and you're buying something that costs $1,100.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be that level. That would be ePro. In any case, so with the Wii, that's sort of dying out just because a lot of the idiots who bought the Wii, you know, I'm not referring to gamers. When gamers bought the Wii, they were like, dude, that could be really awesome.
Zelda.
And dude, Zelda. And dude, it's Nintendo, I gotta. I'm talking about the mainstream. I'm talking about the people who just fucking bought the Wii because they saw it on TV and they heard the Wii Fitness will make them not a fat ass. Well, they found out they're still a fat ass. They found out the games past Wii Sports are kind of because they don't know how to properly shop for games. They haven't been in this industry for long, so they just see something that looks like, hey, that looks like fun, and they buy it, and it's not.
Whoops, shovelware.
Yeah,
exactly. So the Wii's kind of dying out in that sense.
And they could have handled that so much better if they didn't let so much shovelware on their platform.
I think it was just a cash-in. The whole Wii thing.
Yeah, I had that theory early on. Like, as soon as it changed from Revolution to Wii, I'm like, wait a minute, guys. Maybe he hasn't gone insane. Maybe he's just going to make a shit ton of cash and relaunch the Virtual Boy, except now it's virtual reality.
So then, yes, he did go insane. He was like, yes, crazy time go. I'm going to make the Virtual Boy work.
Crazy time now, Desuka.
All according to Keikaku, right?
What's up?
Everything according to Keikaku over there.
Yes, Keiku.
Keiku.
All is going according to Keiku. Keiku means plan.
It does mean plan. Plan means
When
plan.
they're killed.
Okay, enough of that.
Yeah.
So what do you think they're gonna do with the console itself?
I mean, they almost have. The only thing coming out on there currently that we know about is Zelda. Yeah, Skyward Sword. And I could have sworn I saw another one earlier, but I've forgotten about that. So obviously it wasn't that big.
Yeah, no, I can't think of anything, so I don't think it can be that big. I don't think that's possible. So software-wise, they aren't really pushing that. They're pushing the 3DS hardcore.
And obviously they don't want to just be completely left out of the console market.
Right.
Well, honestly, maybe... Because Nintendo, at this point, after the Wii, has been in this inscrutable position of not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to. So, like, we're starting a new console cycle. Nintendo's like, nah, we're going to sit this one out. Fuck off.
Yeah, but that's the sort of thing that loses you mindshare in the market. Like, to be perfectly honest, if everyone else comes out with a new console, then these publishers are going to be like, this is new and exciting, and your customers will really enjoy seeing the shelf space, and here's a demo and a kiosk and a blah, blah, blah. And the Wii's still the Wii. And it's in the back. You can get that. No one's going to suggest it.
Yeah, the Wii won't. If they do that, then yeah.
And why hasn't the Wii gotten... Did they get a price drop? I think they got a $50 price drop, right?
They've dropped it down to 100 or 200.
200.
Yeah.
$50 over the course of 4 years and 4 months?
Yeah.
This has been the most ridiculous generation of Nintendo ever.
This is the get money generation.
Yeah.
Next comes the fuck bitches generation.
This is like the this is, you know, the N64, they almost fucking lost it near the end of that, and the GameCube. So now that the Wii and the DS are succeeding, it's like that quote. I'm trying to remember it. What was it? I swear to God, I'm never going to starve again, or I'll never go hungry again.
Even if I have to lie, cheat, steal, or kill, I'll never go hungry again.
Yes. That is the mentality of Nintendo at this point. Even if they have to screw their fan base hard in ways they do not enjoy, they are not going back to the N64 days. They are going to try their best to be a market-oriented company. Like, oh, all these mainstream people started buying our console, but soon they will lose interest. So we got to generate revenue. How do we do that? With some games. How do we sell games? We throw our characters in them. So then they had a good year where they threw in a bunch of classic Nintendo characters to sell to the hardcore Nintendo fans. Now what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they're going to pop out another E3 where it's like, here are 5 fucking awesome games. You're welcome. Good night.
They might do that. They might just be like, yeah, we win again.
Fuck bitches get money. In reverse order.
But they could be the ones that jump the gun and go for another console. And maybe it won't be as big as Elite. Maybe it will be just something smaller that gets them up pretty much up to this console generation.
I think Nintendo, looking at Apple in their business model, is starting to realize they don't really have to drop prices until the new one's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could just come out with the Wii HD, which has HD graphics and is fully backward compatible, which I've heard rumored a couple times. But cost $250, cost $200.
Do you think for another console iteration they do the Wii again, the motion control thing, or would they just have that optional, backwards compatible, and focus back on controllers again?
Honestly, I think they're staying with the motion control, because if you look at what happened with the DS, they said it was an experiment at first, and then it succeeded, so they kept doing that.
Yeah.
The DS Lite, DSi, DSi XL, and then 3DS. Because the 3DS is like a DS with 3D. That's... And better graphics, of course.
Right.
But it's not majorly different.
It still has the same concept behind as a general play style.
And play style, featured implementation, blah, blah, blah.
Which is fine for the DS, because the DS was a pretty good idea. But motion controls aren't really doing all that much for us right now. Maybe Skyward Sword will kind of change my mind. But.
Maybe. Just maybe. Let's say they end up with something more akin to the Move. Right? Where it's a sort of camera system with a controller interface. Mm-hmm. So it's backwards compatible because the controller interface, and it's better because it can do a more diverse amount of things with the camera. Like, I could see the Move and the way it works being amazing if a platform was launched with that technology. Mm-hmm. Because there is a lot of stuff with altered reality and a lot of stuff with stuff like that could be happening. But just plain isn't, because it's an accessory. Like, the PSP had a camera. That didn't really matter to the majority of the market share, because that came with one game, and there were 2 other games designed for it.
Yep.
When the PSP built in the camera, well, actually, they didn't do that, did they? No, they never did that. They just built in the mic. On the 3000.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the DS has started building the cameras.
Yeah, the DS has the built-in camera, and the DS there are DS games that use that.
Right. And now with the 3DS, we're actually seeing games
using the altered reality.
Using altered reality.
Which the PS3 could be doing, but isn't. The NGP, they're already showing off altered reality games, which, they have that as a platform, so they can do that. So I think the Wii HD or we can call it Wii X2, or Us 2, there we go, the Us 2, will have a camera system with a legitimate controller interface, so it's fully backwards compatible through some nice software emulation, and it can do more, a larger variety of things. If it had some good processing power or was a balanced enough platform, it could do some pretty cool altered reality stuff, which really, that has value. People enjoy that with Kinect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people like those Kinect games.
I could see
and
Nintendo...
also, if they go for the camera thing, they could implement things like Kinect and have body reading.
Exactly. I mean, that really depends on how they do it.
Right.
Because there is a lot of complexity in the exact implementation of a successor to the Wii that could also do other things. Because it needs to be fast enough to be a proper interface. That's the problem with the Kinect games, the lag. Because people shoot out their arm to try to grab something and it flies past.
Mm-hmm. I'm always amazed when I see people that just don't even notice, don't care. But that's what the mainstream doesn't care about. They don't even see that it's not working right.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do, but it happens.
They just see that they don't have to learn some complex control scheme in order to interact with a game, and that is amusing enough to carry.
Yeah, it's the novelty that's carrying the entire experience.
Yeah, so I could really see the Wii HD using a more Move-like system. Somewhere between the Move and the Kinect is really where a Wii HD would have to hit. And yeah, I could see Nintendo launching that in the next year or two. To be perfectly honest, with like PS3-like graphics or 360-like graphics.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of, like, wait, what's between the Move and the Kinect? Because one has a controller, and, one, oh god, Nintendo has a Kinect-like camera. Well, how did they get the buttons in there? They bring back the fucking Power Glove. I love the Power Glove.
I would do that.
So bad.
If they make a Power Glove-based motion control thing, I'd fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? There are good games that could come of that.
Yeah.
There are really good games that could come of that. It could have better response times than, the Kinect. If you had, like, 2 Power Gloves on and you were like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
But then that would require everyone to have 2 Power Gloves each?
Yep.
Wow.
Bob, this is about printing money.
It is.
That's what obviously this is about.
Nintendo comes out with a new console, and it's they pull the sheet off this giant piece of industrial machinery, and it's a printing press. They're like, it prints money. Wait. Oh, shit. No, I'm sorry. That's supposed to be a metaphor. They just sort of wheel it off stage. See you next year.
I'll see you later. Ooh, you. Okay, so yeah, what do you think, Aggro? Could we see a Wii HD coming out in the next year or two? Do you think that's a wise move for Nintendo?
People keep clamoring for a Wii HD. I hate the Wii. I do.
It's so bad.
And not in the Power Glove. Well, I guess in the Power Glove way. Well, it doesn't really matter what we want. We're really discussing what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So do you think? I mean, I could see it happening.
I don't know. Nintendo's strategies have become inscrutable to me.
You can't decipher the meaning.
Yeah, I just can't tell what they're thinking.
Nintendo has announced another new portable. Zooms in on Aggro's face. What does it mean?
like next Game Boy. Why are you doing that? Whatever. I'm gonna buy it. Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what? I would like a Game Boy. I would like a Game Boy.
Yeah.
The NGP, as far as I'm concerned, is more Game Boy than Game Gear.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat of they could do that, but they might just stick with not releasing anything and waiting for the other people to start talking about releasing stuff, and then being like, okay, I guess we do need to finally do something.
I don't know. Nintendo seems to be on their own schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they could see these declining sales and really think, okay, sometime in 2011 or 2012 is when it's really going to start to peter out, because interest in the other consoles, because they've come cheaper and have visually more inherent value.
Plus, the other consoles did integrate motion controls for both of them, so they don't have that over them anymore. They don't have
exactly.
The casual crowd can go there.
So they would have the added benefit of looking just as good as the competition. They would be the new kid on the block, back with even better controls and features than ever. And hopefully they'll get something that is remotely competent on a feature on the console front, because the Wii was pretty fucking lacking.
Yeah.
The 3DS has more features than the Wii.
I mean, with the 3DS, it seems we'll have to wait till May to see what they're going to do with all that, because they said that they have a lot of stuff planned for that May launch of all the online stuff.
Yeah.
So that could do a lot.
So really, just because the 3DS is so taxing on the company because they're working on so many different fronts for the 3DS, they may just let the Wii run on its own until next year, 2012, and then release a Wii HD. Because the 3DS,
Yeah, I don't think that we're looking at anything to come out this year.
To be perfectly honest, the complexity of a machine like this, aside from nailing down what you're going to do for the motion control interface, isn't that hard. Releasing a PS3 level platform in 2011 is not that hard. Especially considering all the options they have to go with. Normally they go with IBM for a processor and ATI for the graphics chip, but now ATI does the fusion chips, which are the CPU and the GPU all in one spot, which honestly Nintendo has been known, compared to its competition, Wii aside, as being a more balanced platform. Like the GameCube is lauded as the best hardware of that generation because it's a really balanced system. So having something where it is a fusion between the CPU and the GPU, and obviously wouldn't cost that much when it's a single chip instead of two separate chips with two different banks of memory and blah blah blah, that would drive down costs, make it more appealing to developers in some sense, and a better platform as a whole. Yeah, so it's not really that taxing to launch the hardware. It's more of a question of how many services are they running for this thing? Because the 3DS has a lot more services than the average Nintendo console.
Right, but
with the Netflix and the other things.
A lot of the 3DS's service. Yeah, we got the Netflix. They were pretty early on there.
Yeah, I heard Nintendo was really disappointed with the Wii level of network features. So they're really working on the
That's
online
good, because their
it was
network
crap.
features were really disappointing.
Yeah, it was like fucking going into Time Machine and shopping online in 1997.
Yeah, I mean...
One moment, we're loading GIFs.
I don't check the store. I check the store for both my 360 and my PS3 like every week.
Yeah.
I don't even bother with the week because it doesn't update.
Hell, I didn't even know that fucking the Pixel Junk studio, Q Games, made DSiWare games.
Yeah.
It's just their interfaces for checking out new stuff is crap. They have poorly designed stores on both their things, so hopefully, yeah. Hopefully the Wii HD won't just be a total cop-out like the Wii was on that front. And hopefully the 3DS will have a good interface. So I guess if we see a Wii HD, probably next year. I think they have a lot more to gain by preempting their opponents than coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they're not going to go for full-on
super future. Yeah, I don't think they're going super future ever again.
Probably not.
Probably not. It's more profitable to say kind of relevant.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps
I'd love
them
to be
in
wrong,
business, but it's just disappointing to us hardcore.
Yeah,
honestly, because then Mario and the Zelda games are always just like this could be so much more.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's actually why I didn't play Twilight Princess. It's so biased of me, but that's why I didn't play it, because I was just so disappointed of this is just a GameCube game.
You should play the GameCube version.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
I should. How disappointing. But yeah, so now Microsoft.
This is the wild card.
Yeah, it really is.
They don't have a portable to
here's
sit back
the two
on.
things to stave off the next gen for Microsoft. You ready?
Okay.
One, they just came out with Kinect. They sold like 10 million units. They're making shitloads of cash off of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're breaking bank. Two, there is a rumor going around that the capacity for the Xbox 360 discs is being expanded by a gigabyte or more. That move says to me that they want this generation to last longer. And also that they realize piracy is a problem and the security on their discs really isn't helping what's causing that. So, for me, those two things really point towards, yeah, we can wait. We can definitely wait. Because also, hardware-wise, the industry is going through a lot of transition. Intel and AMD are integrating their graphics chips onto the processors. NVIDIA is starting to integrate, starting to do system on a chip, as we mentioned earlier with the Tesla 2. So they're doing processors with the GPUs.
Huh.
Power or IBM is still just doing super awesome processors, and
Because that's how they be.
that's how they be.
Fucking IBM.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Bitch.
That is their fucking job. So, there's a lot of transition in most of the industry. AMD ATI is, those CPU and GPU parallels to Intel and NVIDIA, and they're fusing things together. Intel's fusing things together. NVIDIA's fusing things together. Everyone's fusing their shit together because the economies of scale really point towards, you want to do that. It makes it cheaper for the whole package. Peter Moore's law. Moore's law has scaled up to the point where we can integrate all that stuff on the same chip, and the performance advantages of doing such are insane. So
Yeah, I guess
right
we
now,
might need to be waiting for all that to solidify.
Yeah, because the first generation of integrated graphics chips on an Intel processor, that blew. Yeah, the graphics performance fucking sucked ass. The newer generation is worlds better. It's still not quite what you would want to make a gaming platform with, but it's still worlds better than it was before. So just waiting 1 year has caused that to happen. Waiting another year or 2 or 3 will actually see to it that NVIDIA could perhaps make a system on a chip, a single chip architecture that has an ARM processor on it and a really nice GPU that can also compute things using OpenCL or Direct Compute or NVIDIA's version, which I forgot the name of currently, which I'm sure somebody's going to be like, haha, you didn't know that. All one of them.
We'll find that guy.
Yeah.
We'll be best friends with that guy. We'll replace you with that guy.
What? You can't replace me. People come to the site because of me.
It'd be totally awkward if, we had both of you.
Well, why would we get that guy?
You can, knife fight over it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As long as we can knife fight.
Yeah, as long as it's fair.
As long as it's fair. I get a bigger knife, right?
No, you don't get a knife.
Damn it. Okay. In any case, more balanced architecture because of the whole, CPU and GPU being right next to each other, and GPU can also process things from the processor side of things, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're in a lot of change right now. 2 years from now, things will be a lot more solid as an industry.
Yeah, it's just, sort of what I was saying, shit's in flux.
But everything's in flux.
And
We're going digital with shit, hardcore.
I mean, it's not even just the gaming industry, all hardware, it's society, shit's changing.
Yeah. Right now, there's a lot more change than there was even 5 years ago, I would say.
Are we sure? I mean, there's always change.
I don't know. 5 years ago, look at what was happening.
It's just that it's getting faster. It's getting larger in scale. Our society is moving forward with technology integration. It's becoming bigger. It's getting faster as we near the singularity.
You are obsessed with the singularity.
Because robots!
In any case, yeah, it's different from last time, Bob. Do you recall retail stores working their way into the internet 5 years ago? At the same time that we started putting two major components of the PC that have been distinctly different parts for the past 7 or 9 or actually a little over 12 years since the first major one, the Voodoos. I'm probably wrong on that number because I wasn't really paying attention back at the Voodoos. But in any case, we're integrating this into one chip. We're moving memory accessing onto the processor. We're moving everything onto the fucking processor. That's a huge hardware change. On top of that, everything's going digital. Retail stores are going apeshit and trying to get to the internet. We have tablets coming out. What the fuck is with that shit? We're trying to stream games over the internet. What the fuck is that shit? Everything's fucking changing.
Nintendo's like, we announced the flying car.
You have to suck a dick to get it. I find the interesting thing with the 3DS is that it's a prettier DS with 3D. That's the most that could come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I just, the gameplay advantages of being able to do that aren't, because Nintendo themselves are like, no, do not make a game that only works in 3D. It's like, oh, do not take advantage of our platform. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about Nintendo because either they're biding their time or they're fucking with us.
Are they selling hardware that costs $101 to make for $250?
Yeah.
Okay,
It could be both.
They're probably fucking with us. But yeah, so things look more uncertain now than they have ever looked before.
Right.
Like the PS2 as an idea, as a processing level, was pretty road mapped out 2 or even 3 years in advance. I remember going back and doing, for some articles for the site I used to work for, some research on PS2 and the earliest news on it. And yeah, we had information in that advance. Oh, fun fact. To all those people saying that Sony said the PS2 would look like Toy Story, no, they didn't. That was Microsoft and it was the Xbox. God damn it. I hate that mistake. Did I ever tell you about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about that?
No.
Yeah, at the first unveiling of the Xbox, or at least in an interview very, very shortly thereafter, they say, we will be able to deliver Toy Story-like graphics.
Wow. In the cutscenes?
Yeah.
Because,
I saw
close.
Close, yeah. Ish. Not really.
No cigar.
But yeah, so the whole industry of everything's in flux. Sales, hardware. The only thing that's staying kind of the same is development, but that's only because that went through a radical change at the beginning of this gen. With the whole middlewares are more important than ever, and using an engine can make your game come out faster, but can just not work for your game, and if you're not smart, you don't figure that out in advance. Like how the Unreal Engine was only good for corridor shooters for the longest time. And now, just now...
For the longest time? Question mark.
Hey, it's now getting to the point where we can get slightly larger games. Like, compare Gears of War 1 scale to 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal knows how to use their engine.
Yeah, now. We're just now getting there.
Yeah,
Other people
They themselves do. No one else does.
I'm sure there's an example I can't think of right now of a game.
I'm trying to think of every Unreal game. I can't think of one that has...
What about Final Fantasy 13?
Final Fantasy 13 was on Unreal.
Oh, yeah, it totally was.
It'd be pretty awesome, though.
That looks like an Unreal game. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember all the texture loading issues, and oh wait, those weren't there. I remember how it looked like a Gears of War. Oh wait, no, that didn't.
There was a
happen,
corridor.
There was
There was a corridor. Okay.
There was shooting, right? I didn't play.
There was
shooting.
totally.
People had guns.
Saz had guns.
Okay.
Because he's cool. He's like, there you is.
We totally win. We won that argument.
High five. So
I thought there
what
was something called the White Engine, and it was pretty cool.
That's racist.
That is racist.
Darn it.
You know what? I'm going to look up what it used real quick. One moment.
It was like...
Racist engines. Crystal tools.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, just looked it up. Apparently it's called the Crystal Tools. It's a game engine, but it was originally called White Engine, so Bob was right. I think it was called White Engine when it was PS3 exclusive, and then they changed it into a more multi-platform development engine.
All right.
Because they realized the value of that because they were yelled at. They were made to know. Did you know that it can have high-quality CGI real-time rendering? Wow, that's a hell of a feature. That's real.
That's so real.
Progressive scan loading. What the fuck is with this list? What am I looking at?
Cinema quality special effects rendering. That sentence is literally meaningless.
There are
Who
some
wrote
cheap
this?
cinemas,
This is definitely just straight from their PR sheets.
But yeah, I mean...
Hang on, go back up. Advanced audio processing.
It's advanced.
You know, we
Is
had
it blast audio processing?
We had yeah, they use a Sound Blaster. Yeah, they programmed that shit straight into the PS3. But yeah, ignoring the stupid PR bullshit we're reading about this engine, which is so hard. Oh my god. The whole fucking world, especially video games, well, maybe not so especially, maybe more of the internet, but it's in a hell of a lot of a transition currently. There's just a lot of things about the industry and how you make a platform that are transitioning really hardcore right now. Like, yeah, next gen was looking kind of
Like, is it
vague.
even going to happen? Like, is
like-
this something we're going to deal with in the next 2 years, or are we talking about in the next 4 years?
Oh, it'll happen in the next 2. I'll be surprised if it takes
We'll start
3.
hearing about it in the next couple of years, at least.
I don't know. I think it's gonna happen in 2 or 3.
I don't know. Like, this might be the cycle that, breaks the cycle. I don't know if we're going to have the console wars anymore.
I think there's one more good iteration of
There's
hardware.
probably one more.
Because, I mean, look at the PS3. There are definite deficits to its
Yeah.
feature list and security now.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about... I don't want to jump on board saying next gen would be the end, be all end all, because by the time we're through next gen, things will have changed so much. It will come up with some stupid future technology that's just retarded, and everything has to happen.
Yeah, the middle and the end of next gen are going to be really interesting.
Yeah. I think next gen
It'll
at
be like
first,
holographs on water.
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone wants a water fountain in their...
No, it's a
I
water
think you
TV.
mean hologram, by
Oh,
the
it's a
way.
water TV.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
it's magic.
Honestly,
No, it's water and projection.
I wish some
You
of the...
suck at magic.
I wish some of the other technologies would take off, like fucking OLED or any of that.
And cars. I wish that technology would take off.
Yeah, I wish cars worked,
They need to be more integrated into our society.
And into the air.
especially in
God
America.
damn it, make the flying car.
I don't know. Japan's lucky how everyone over there has a car. I wish all of us Americans had our own cars to drive places.
Wow.
That would be so cool if we
We're
each
stuck
had a
with
car
bikes.
and had to drive like 25 miles to work every day, to and from.
That sounds like a dream.
That sounds like a fucking dream. Trains suck. You know what rules? Staring at the road.
Yeah, so anyway.
So I
yeah.
think that's
I suppose our final verdict is shit be nebulous.
Yeah.
That's kind of
That's,
I-
I mean,
personally-
that's the cop-out thing. but-
personally. I think it's the next generation of platforms is definitely going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years for Sony at very least. Definitely Nintendo. I guess definitely Microsoft. Yeah, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years. 3 at absolute most. There you go. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to say like 2 months to 10 years, somewhere in that range. Definitely is going to be... I'll put money on that.
2 months to 10 years.
1 month.
Like 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, PS4. Fuck.
You know what? I'm going to price this right, your ass. 1 day to 1 month and 29 days.
1 day to 1 month and 29 days.
Yeah,
so,
1
so,
month to one... no,
So,
1
so,
day...
So tomorrow to 2 months from now is when you think...
Yeah, just about 2 months from now.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. You're an idiot, by the way. Bob, do you have some kind of moronic timescale you'd like to put fake money on?
I'm just going to go with something that actually is feasible
Okay.
and not insane.
That sounds pretty gay. I'm going to go over.
I'm going to say we're going to at least hear about him in the next 3 years, but we probably won't see him until after that. Probably after 3 years.
Yeah, because even technology on the TV front is kind of nebulous. You know, that's another thing we didn't touch on, because there's 3D, but then there's the internet-enabled TVs, and they're usually not the same TVs.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of features
I can't
pulling
wait
in...
till our TVs are also touchscreens for some reason.
Oh, God, that's awful. Unless they
So now
have
you
some
have-
sort of magic that
like-
gets rid of fingerprints.
Like this huge stick that you just poke your TV with from your couch. And 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Wouldn't you just have like a Wii sensor at that point? And
Nope.
actually, wow, no.
Gotta be a stick.
I can't stop laughing just because I can't stop laughing because I got the mental image of someone sitting in my bed, that TV, and just going wham, 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 really damn hard into his TV, and then it just falls off. Because those TVs are going to be thin as hell, too.
Yeah.
But, so, okay. Technology is nebulous, but I'm going to put it at 2 to 3 years, just because I think it's going to take that long for us to solidify a legitimate version of the integrated chip, the CPU plus GPU combination. Bob, you said hear about it in the next 3, was it?
Yeah, hear about it in the next 3 and see it like within the next 5.
Okay, and Aggro's...
Is Ocarina of Time out yet on the 3DS?
No.
Then I don't give a shit.
Okay, so that's that. So yeah, thanks for listening to the GigaBoots Podcast, episode 3. Wait, episode 03, Double Upper Max?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. remember to go to GigaBoots.com for the latest quick plays, etc. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. I suggest all three.
That's really for the best.